You're on camera. Say something.
Last night and night before, there was 3 women walking down the street that way. I saw them. I said, hey, you 3 women, why are y'all walking down the street that way? There's nothing down there. And they flew away. I said, oh, them was some birds.
I'm Captain Lou Albano talking to you about drugs. Kids, don't be afraid to say no. I'm Captain Lou Albano talking to you about drugs. Kids, don't be afraid to say no. Anyone that asks you to use drugs is not your friend. Drugs can and will kill. Remember, don't be afraid to turn to your priest, your rabbi, your minister, your moms, your dads, your teachers, because drugs can kill. And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.
Yeah. It's me, Jarrell the Dawn, baby. From the house of L to the house of hoes, got a little mission for you, son. Listen close. Yo, Cal, you my legacy, my flesh, my clone. Now go to Earth and make that planet your home. But don't just save them, breed them, feel me? Flying smooth, make them cry, oh really? You got strength of 10 men, game like Zeus. Cape in the wind in the tight blue suit. Ain't no villain that could block your aim, so why not drop seeds and lock the game? Son, this biology ain't no fluke. You a walking god, now execute. Make super babies, fill the charts. I ain't die for you to chase no heart. Smash them all, Cal, plant that name. From farm girls to queens, it's all the same. Be the daddy of earth, the prime L spawn. Spread house of L to the break of dawn. Breed them up, Cal, breed them fast. Legacy's fire, gotta make it last. Don't fight fate, be the stud I plan. I'm watching from stars with the master hand. Lex got tech, Bruce got cash, but you got genes that'll outlive Flash. You ain't here just to punch and fly, you here to make them babies cry. He my guy. Tell Lois Lane she the first in line, but don't act shy when it's overtime. I built the fortress, now make it a crib for 20 little supers in a rocket ship fridge. You ain't just Cal, you the seed of fate. Gotta repopulate, dominate, create. Go on, my son, be the myth, the man. Smash them respectfully, that's the plan. Smash them all, Cal, plant that name. From farm girls to queens, it's all the same. Be the daddy of earth, the prime L spawn. Spread house of L to the break of dawn. Breed them up, Cal, breed them fast. Legacy's fire, gotta make it last. Don't fight fate, be the stud I plan. I'm watching from stars with the master hand. House of L, baby. From Krypton's ashes to Earth's backseat. Do it for your daddy in the multiverse, you heard?
And kneel and be amazed at the touch of the black man. I bring life.
They're coming for the future, saying it's for the kid. But every word you whisper goes on a record list. Screams are watching faces, names behind the glass. They're saying it's protection, but freedom's fading fast. And I won't be the one to sit and lie while they barcode every blink of my eye. Call it safety, but it smells like control. You can't save a soul by killing the soul.
Have you or a loved one been injured in a Moon Witch-related monster battle? You may be entitled to compensation. You're probably wondering how I got here. Well, it all started with me saying, I gotta know, Is it real? Is Planet Gatorade really real? Is it really, really real? So I took a Gatorade rocket out into the... Yeah, I know, there's no Gatorade pun there. I literally traveled through space inside of a Gatorade rocket, and it was going great until we started going way too fast, and, you know... With Gatorade, speed control is a little difficult, and so off we went, and I crash-landed. You know, I crash-landed. I mean, come on, like, look, I obviously, like, you know, it's in one piece, nobody died. Nobody died. And that's how I met Coolia Blue. So there I was on Earth, like, I gotta find Planet Gatorade because I know there's a beautiful woman there that's waiting for me to steal her heart. And she was like, "Oh, Cider, you're so brave coming all the way across the galaxy to be my boyfriend." And I was like, yeah, that's exactly why I'm here. And it worked. Son of a bitch, it worked. I'm still in the copyright defensible Megazord. Man, that's the last time I marinate chicken in Gatorade. Pepsi Man! Pepsi Man! Pepsi Man! Go, go, RX! Pepsi Man! Pepsi Man! Go, go, RX! Pepsi Man! Pepsi, Pepsi! Pepsi Man! RX! Pepsi, Pepsi, Pepsi Man, go! RX! On today's episode of Bounding into Power Rangers, Cider lines himself up for a possible lawsuit from multiple mega corporations. Cider also created a bunch of stuff that you guys are going to want to subscribe to see more of. Will Cider end up getting sued by Hasbro and Gatorade? Find out today on Bounding into Power Rangers.
Where is my daughter?
Well, I'll tell ya, it sure doesn't smell like Rita in here.
Go, go, Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! You mighty morphin Power Rangers!
Let's go. That's right. We got a community now. That's right. You can show up and participate in a message board. We've even got a fan theory contest. And here to help me discuss that is the lovely Miss Nerdigans.
Hi, Cider. Hi, Bounding audience. And we have a fan theory contest?
Yeah, we have a fan theory contest and a message board community. That's right. I'm not logged in right now because I'm on a different browser. But I have been posting over there, as you can see, talking about Demon Slayer and Mark Hamill and all that jazz. Come on over and have a conversation with us. You see, the message board might be a little outdated for the newer crowd, you know? But for those of us old fogies, it's kind of nice to have a conversation that doesn't disappear in 10 seconds. So, you know, drop on by, make an account, and join up. Now, we did mention that fan theory contest, and Miss Nerdigans isn't even aware of it, so here we go. Over on Bounding, the X account, we announced that we have a fan theory contest. And it says here, got a wild, clever, or shocking theory about a comic, show, movie, or game? Let us know in the new BIC community. That's right, that message board I just showed you. Come on over here, and this is where it is. You post in it right here. Yep, we have Ray Ronch here. I've already kind of talked about it here. And here we go. So Alex posted it. So we have that here, but we'll go back over to what the rules are, okay? You could win an Amazon gift card. We'll get to that. Don't worry. We'll get to it. But here are the rules. You must have your own idea about this. You can't copy and paste something you found in a really neat corner of 4chan or Reddit or someplace that you can collect that stuff. It's not 9gag. I know it's not. But one submission per person. That's right. You can't go in here and like stuff the ballot box. All right. I know that's pretty popular in Washington, but we try to run it above board around here. No banana republic at bounding. All right. We're not bounding into bananas yet. And so we need to clearly state what it's about when you're in there. You can't just be like, so Batman and Gumby go on adventure and Pokey dies. You got to be a little bit more clear about your fan theory, about what's going on here. Now, the fan theory is not a fan fiction, okay? The fan theory is, how did this thing that's not either well explained, poorly explained, or not at all explained come to be, okay? So you're wondering how the X gene for the X-Men came to be, and it's really not that well explained. You know, some hokey pokey cosmic waves did some funny things to an Egyptian guy. You know, if you don't really buy that end of it and you want to come up with your own theory about it, great. If you want to come up with a theory about why Alfred's such a badass and can just build all this crazy ass tech for Bruce, you know, go ahead, come up with your fan theory about how Alfred became a martial arts expert, engineer, doctorate of engineer, and an astronaut? Yeah, I think an astronaut as well. And so, I mean, like, you know, he went to space, obviously. So, you know, but, you know, any type of fan theory you got out there, but the rule is it has to be out of the existing media. You can't be out there writing fan fiction whole cloth about Batman and well, they do meet up now, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Deadpool. So I guess you could do that one too. If you have a fan theory about how that should come to be, not how Kevin Smith is going to make it come to be. But, that's how it works. Now, the prize is, of course, number one, a $50 Amazon gift card. That's right. You can go out there and buy $50 worth of bubble gum, if that's your thing. And then there's the $25 Amazon gift card for the runner-up, okay? And now for the honorable mentions, we're going to give you $10 because we appreciate the effort that you went out there, you formulated a thought on this, and you were bold enough to go out and let everybody know what you think about that thing. Okay, so we'll give you a whole 10 smackaroonies for that one. And the deadline, ladies and gentlemen, is September 29th. All right, if you roll over into October on this one, you're out of luck. You've missed it. It's past. So September 29th is when you have to have your fan theory submitted. Shortly after that, we'll announce the winner and we'll get in contact with you through the, whatever platform we can get you through. Hopefully it's through the community so we can private message you there and just be like, hey, buddy, you get yourself a fancy Amazon gift card all to yourself. I don't know if staff are allowed to participate, Miss Nerdigan, so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's my guess. That wouldn't be fair.
Sorry, Dante. It seems like we've got to leave it to the audience, and they're pretty creative on their own. So I think they come up with something. I think they'll come up with something pretty good. We'll find out, though, after September 29th when the judging begins. Until then, we're wide open. No judgment. You come on through with whatever you like. It could be anime, too. We're not strictly to comics. It could be video games. If you have a fan theory about the moon landing, it has to be out of the existing media. That's all.
Who knows? Maybe it'll get made into a movie like the latest Harry Potter fanfic movie that's coming out. Oh my god!
Yeah, right.
I can't believe they're trying to pull a 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Let us know in the chat if you want to hear about that. I don't really want to dive into that.
No, there's way too much going on to dive into that.
Not only that, it's kind of icky. So
kind of cringy.
Yeah. But however, speaking of things that you folks are interested in, we do have this. This is the result of the 3-day poll that I ran over here on the Bounding Into Comics YouTube channel. And you responded now 70% in the affirmative that you wanted more Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season X videos. That's right. This is the fan fiction. I'm not going to lie. It's a fan fiction. It's never going to, Hasbro can't touch this. They legally can't touch this. They've closed off all avenues to be able to talk about this stuff. So sorry, if you're looking forward to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season X being produced by any of the major corporations associated with Hasbro, that's not going to happen. However, we can have a lot of fun on YouTube until I get a cease and desist. Take a look at this.
We can't let it end like this.
We can't let her win!
So, I did it. You guys asked it for more content. I got us to season 2 where Master Vile was melted into everything. Now we have the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers save the Hollow Earth. And that, as you can see right back there, that's not the Megazord that belongs with that Red Ranger.
Nope.
And so, as you can see, the story is going to start melting things together from the other seasons in order to form the continuity that I keep talking about in my Power Ranger review videos. The big problem with Power Rangers is they tried to weave it all together. Sentai's constant changing because they didn't follow that formula. So their constant changing of the aesthetic and the stakes and the villainous intent made it very difficult to create a cohesive narrative. I'm doing that. Now, if Hasbro writers want to step through and say like, hey, these are some good notes, that's legally allowed. But this Batman case, you remember this, Miss Nerdigans, this fella that sued Matt Reeves for stealing his Riddler idea. This spooked the corporation something fierce. And so they shut off all avenues to be influenced by people they did not either license their IP to or hire specifically to develop it. So there is no avenue any longer to be able to submit ideas to Hasbro about their IPs. They won't even let you submit new ideas about stuff you like an independent thing. So, but I'm not letting that deter me. Until I get a cease and desist, I'm going to keep doing this. So, as you know, I went and redid Goldar. So I've also done Scorpina now. So I've only added a little bit to her. It's not a lot. As you can see, the belt's there, and she has that kind of that plastic over her eye. Because I thought the Saiyans looked kind of spooky with the scouter over their eye.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't rip that off because it's pretty obvious what a scouter is. Everybody and their brother knows what a scouter looks like, so you can't copy that over. So I did my best to kind of give her that look of like, ooh, one eye is covered by the thing, which is spooky. I think she looks threatening. But this is the Hollow Earth environment too. So as I go through and show you the stuff here, you're going to see a lot of crystals and lava and stuff. Because like in my mind, you know, if there's a habitable environment like in the Hollow Earth, it's going to look like that. It's not going to be like a soccer field or whatever. So then a lot of people just over the years kind of like brush this one aside. Like, oh, people just build the Zords. And then the other ones are like alive and they talk. And then the other ones are like sentient sometimes. And the other ones aren't sentient, but behave like they're sentient. So there's never really like a concurrent idea about what the hell a Zord is. So I decided to fix that. Okay. So here we have Kimberly, and she is in her pterodactyl knight outfit. You'll see the outfits in a little bit here. I'll show you guys what they look like. Yes, I am proud that I went through and created all this by myself. I didn't get any input from Hasbro or anything like that. So as you can see, Kim's holding a tiny egg here. And then there's a teeny tiny little pterodactyl Zord inside of it with electricity around.
That's cute.
I said, yeah. So I said, why not make these crystals grid crystals? So they're filled with grid energy. And the radiation from that causes these things to form like stalagmites. So you reach up from the ceiling and grab a Zordling egg. And that's where the Zords come from, is the irradiated caverns of the Hollow Earth produce them by like building up radiation over thousands of years. You get your teeny tiny little saber-tooth tiger Zord in there.
I mean, that would be great for Hasbro to sell toys, or in this case, Playmates to sell toys.
Mm-hmm. And see, a lot of people have asked me, like, why are you doing these specific things? And the reason is that I've set a goal of trying to follow through with the formula that they've come up with, that toy first, then story, then everything else after that. The toy has to come first. The functionality of the toy, the purpose of the toy has to be first in what you're doing. This isn't a wish fulfillment fan fiction. I am earnestly trying to create a Power Rangers season following the map established by Hasbro, Neo Saban, and Disney. An original Saban, obviously. So now, with that being said, I also went through and started creating my own custom armors. Now, Super Sentai fans are going to recognize this Super Sentai armor, okay? The centerpiece anyway. This is from Rhea Soldier. And Rhea Soldier had a modular armor system where you would plug in one of their dino keys, I think is what they called them. And that would allow you to access like your right arm or chest or whatever would transform into a new piece of armor. It had different functionality, a theme to it. And so I borrowed that through and put the Thunder Zord, the Firebird Thunder Zord in armor. So there you go. It's a Firebird Blitz armor is what I'm calling it. I'm probably going to need to change that because I've said it out loud a lot. And I'm like, that's going to slip up and they're going to call it Firebird Bitch armor. I know that I'm going to need to change that one. It might have to go back to being Fury.
I feel like though is like, part of me is like thinking maybe you should, especially since it's in the center of the earth and everything, and there's like a little bit of and in a way, a little bit of magic. You could apply some of the mystic. A lot of magic. You could apply the mystic force, some of that lore up in there too.
Of course. I mean, there's a lot of what I'm trying to do. See, Andros and Zane have already been introduced in this too, as I talked about in an earlier video.
Yeah.
And so this whole situation is meant to melt this stuff into a singular situation, singular continuity. So I'll just move on so we have something to look at here while I talk. So what I'm working on right now is how this births into Zeo. Zeo is not this team. This team does not cease being the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They are replaced by Zeo because there's a new threat. Okay? Now, I've already determined that the Machine Empire will be coming from another dimension, not space. So that way we don't have space, just like a parking lot of people waiting to invade the Earth. So it's my turn. No, it's my turn. No, well, the number says it's mine.
I mean, we did see, you know, in regards to Time Force, and if you want to talk about parallel dimensions, there's Time Force, and there's also, I believe SPD maybe did delved into it a little bit.
RPM. Yeah. RPM is the other alternate universe. And then Dino Charge came through and said, dinosaurs never died. We whoopsied the timeline and dinosaurs never died.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there's that.
So there's 3 different timelines in the Power Ranger universe, or whatever you want to call it. And so this is trying to melt all of those into one solid continuity. So the Hollow Earth has remained separate from the surface world and like completely out of influence because of a magical barrier. Now, you remember in the Turbo movie, there was the magical barrier around the, I forget what the name of the island was, but around the Bermuda Triangle, where Malagor was being kept. And that's where Divatox needed Larigo to break through, and the turbo keys were needed to break through that barrier. It's not something you can walk through. And so this is why the Power Rangers, Zordon, none of it's ever kind of come up before. Again, with fan fiction, you try to find a crack, and then you fill that crack with all your bullshit. And so what I've done is that they are summoned to the Hollow Earth by the king of the Hollow Earth, who has been imperiled by the villainess I created here, Vexala. You see her in the opening where she's got all the purple bullshit around. And so you have Jason in the center here, and he's made up to look like, you know, the king of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. You know, I didn't want to abandon the dinosaur motif, even though they have their ninjetti powers, battleizers. So I just wanted to make sure we kept through with all that because it looks badass. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that's the point. Is I wanted to like ancient society this to kind of pull through the feeling of like, oh yeah, this was a society that was cut off from like the surface world, and the demands of surface life forced us to civilize faster than they did. They stagnated, only having to deal with the lost Dinozords and the Carnozords. I'll explain who the Carnozords are in a bit, and other humans that had escaped during the flood. Now, I'm not going to talk about the flood being God's wrath on Earth in this or anything like that. It's not really going to have a big, huge explanation behind it. It's just 10,000 years ago, the Earth was flooded, and that's what led to all these people here. And that was around the time that Zordon's fight with Rita got done. Okay, because remember when Rita pops out of the dumpster, she says, after 10,000 years, I'm free.
Yeah.
So we can always say that the battle on the moon between Rita and Zordon caused the flood on Earth. And we don't have to tread into, you know, all the theology conversation that complicates everything. So you notice that Tommy looks a lot different than the other ones. He's not obeying that Greek thing. And that's because he's Tommy.
And he could do whatever.
That was the only logic I had behind this. Is I was thinking to myself, he usually just looks different anyway because he's Tommy, and so there's the Sixth Ranger. He has a different set of attire that borrows a bit more from the Orient, so he looks more like a martial arts master from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And so, whereas the other ones have that Greek influence on them. And I also like the gold pauldrons on the shoulders. I don't know. I just thought it was fun. So everybody's got a diamond, color coordinated to their doodad. And I like the girls' outfits too. I deliberately put their pauldrons on the right, the right shoulder. So that way we could have formations like these. And we weren't having people's animals getting cut off because they're in formation. And so that means Trini and Kimberly will always be, off to that side, off on the left side of the picture, but whatever. And but I like their fashion. I was really intrigued when it finally came together. I really like the Greek key print on their pants. That I was like, oh wow, that's clever. That's fun. And of course, everybody has a cape that corresponds to their color, except for Jason, and he's made up to look like some barbarian king. So, but I talked about the Carnizords, okay? And so I've introduced this concept of Zords that eat other Zords down in the Hollow Earth. And so this is the Bone Armor Carnizord. I have a more complete design of that, but you're not going to see that until it's ready for release, okay? I have to fix the Megazord mode, and it's got a few more tweaks for it before I show you the full Zord. So here's what it looks like, really. You're not going to see anything too different than this. I just have to fix the Warrior mode. And so you'll notice that's a Rhea Soldier sword, but I remade that sword. That tiger head does not exist in any Rhea Soldier product. I made that, including the red blade on it, okay? I made it with AI. I didn't actually forge it, draw it, whatever, if you want to be specific, okay? But I took like hours to get the AI to actually do that, okay? It was a pain in the ass. But that's how you summon and control the Bone Armor Carnizord. And who do you think is in command of that? Trini. So I was thinking to myself, Tommy gets all the neat shit. And he's the tiger guy. So it's going to be obvious that people think this is going to go to Tommy. And I said, well, what if it didn't? What if it went to Trini, the other tiger character? Right? So that was my thinking behind that. And I don't know. I happen to like the bone armor concept. The Carnizord concept as well. I also have the heavy metal Carnizord, and I'm not finished designing that yet. And that comes with a special battleizer. Instead of that Rhea Soldier style armor. And so I'm working with that. And that's guitar powered, believe it or not. Comes with a badass guitar. I don't think I have that design on this PC, but if you just give me a hot second here, I might be able to. Oh, yep, I do actually. Haha. So this will give you a clue into what the heavy metal Megazord, the heavy metal Carnizord will look like. And this is how you control and summon it. You have to shred sickly in order to control the machine, or it goes berserk. So there you go. The Bone Armor Carnizord and the Heavy Metal Carnizord. So but this is what you guys voted for. I wanted to walk all through that before we jumped into the chat here and talk to everybody, because I usually get distracted through conversation and it takes forever, and we have a ton of stuff to talk about that is on top of all this Power Ranger stuff. So, all right. So here we have it. Let's see where we go. Yeah, Jason looks awesome. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. The situation that I find myself with his design, though, is that the AI has a hard time remembering his cape. And it's very annoying to put him in action situations because it just disregards the cape. So he just has a furry shoulder and it looks really dumb. You see it in a couple of pictures that I can show here, but they have it. So is Wednesday 01 coming back? I don't think so. Monday is kind of where it's been okay. So we're probably going to stick with that. I just missed Monday because I was sick. And so I decided to hit this back up again because we do have a lot to talk about. So I didn't want to miss out on a week of information because I had the barfs on Monday. So Yeah, about Scorpina, right? Now, I really liked her design like immediately as it popped out. I had a lot of fun putting that together. And it combines the old costume with some new elements, and I just like creating more contrast than the old suit had. The old suit was just like solid yellow and a little bit of red, and a little bit of silver and gold everywhere. It was just really obnoxious. I'm sorry, it was just really obnoxious. But so that's why I created the black contrast here, and that's why I created the red in the arms too, to break up that like gold flesh tone kind of thing going on there. So I don't know. I had a lot of fun designing her. This is the thing, is I wish Hasbro would hire me to do this. This is all I do. This is the thing that really like gets me going, is sitting here creating stuff. They just, pay me half the salary of the guy you got doing it now. This is all I do. I'll make you $1 billion in a week, man. I'll make you $1 billion in a week. And nice, right? Yeah, it is what it is. And it looks sick. Can't wait for more Power Rangers stuff. Well, don't worry. You guys voted for it. I have at least 3 lore videos about the Hollow Earth story in progress. And as I showed you with that little trailer there, it gets pretty hairy. All right. So I don't know. I'm really into it, and I don't know. You guys probably might not be, but it is what it is. And see, I used to do this for 15 years, and I gave it up when I found Comicsgate, and that was a mistake. But I found Comicsgate, and I got the idea that I could produce my own media, and we all got gassed up on this idea that we'll just be the new Marvel, we'll be the new DC. The problem is nobody's Googling that. Yeah. Nobody's Googling what you've created. And so you can fart around about it for years on end and nothing will happen. Now, I sold my one singular comic book to 212 people as a complete no-name. And that was a miracle. I'm not going to deny you. I'm not going to tell you that's the norm. That's in any way, shape, or form a thing that can be replicated. And so that's why I've retreated back into this stuff. Because the more we try to talk about this creative new stuff, the less reception it gets. So we move back into what you guys are looking for, and here you are, joining the audience to have fun talking about Power Rangers with us, as opposed to this new thing that you don't know about. It is what it is, and there's not much we can do to control that situation. But there are people out there that want to control a lot of situations. And thanks to Miss Nerdigans, we do have this information from today. Earlier this morning, Representative James Comer, not Coomer, Comer, came out and said he is summoning the CEOs of Discord, Steam, Twitch, and Reddit to testify at an oversight committee hearing on October 8th. The hearing is going to examine the radicalization of online forum users, including instances of open incitement to commit politically motivated acts. And so, as you know, with Reddit, Blue Sky, and of course X, there are some intense ideas that are posted quite regularly. This is meant to...
I'll be right back because my dad's calling.
Oh, yeah. So basically what's happened here is with the event that took place involving Charlie Kirk's departure from Earth. And I don't want to be funny about that. It's just YouTube's stupid restrictions, and I don't want to get this stream taken down because I said a naughty, naughty word in association with a recent event. And so, go ahead.
Sorry, my dad is coming to visit me from the Bay Area, so I just...
oh, wow.
Yeah, because he has a conference near me, so...
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to see my dad either today or tomorrow for the first time in a while. So that'll be
wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the first time I've seen him since he was hospitalized for his diabetes going out of control.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm glad he's
sorry.
back.
Yeah. Luckily my brother lives close by and he helped my dad get set up with better equipment to test his blood sugar. But that's a whole different story. But here's my thing. Because you're talking to someone that has been around the Antifa circles before. Like, I'm friends with some of them, actually. I haven't talked to them in a minute, but I was friends with them for a while. Is that they are extremely active on Discord which I could have joined one of their discords, but I would prefer not to die. Thank you, or have my info doxed.
Right.
They are active on Discord. They're active on Blue Sky. They're active on, I think they're still active on Facebook. I know they are on Instagram because Andy No posted one of the members did a call to arms kind of thing. So yeah, so they're active there, and they're active on TikTok. That's the other one. TikTok has a huge radicalization problem. I'm very surprised that TikTok was not summoned. And the other place that besides those that I'm very surprised they didn't summon the CEO from is Telegram. They are extremely active on Telegram because it's well, I don't know how encrypted it is anymore, but that's why they were on Telegram, because of the encrypted servers, so they couldn't get caught.
Telegram is a honeypot. You get on there and you start Fed posting, you are definitely going to a deep dark hole. So don't do that. Don't do that.
With Twitch, I kind of understand because I was part of the protest community on Twitch, and that's how I met like the Antifa people, is because of that.
Like
it's crazy. They were a lot nicer to me than the Trump supporters who bullied me because I didn't agree with them. But
I don't know if we can show this, but I'm gonna seek it out just so you know. Hassan Piker thing here.
Yeah, Hassan.
Video of him saying crazy stuff.
Yeah, Hassan is definitely part of the problem, but I know, like, part of me is like thinking, no, maybe it's because of the protest streams on there and the active Antifa community on there. I'm like, no, we're dealing with boomers here. They have no clue. They got no clue what's going on. And I'd say it's Twitch and the protest community. I'd say it's a both side situation because that's where we saw the extremes was there, and we've seen them on YouTube as well in the YouTube chats. And I want to say we've definitely seen them on Twitter and Facebook. Twitter and Facebook, if you want to talk about like far right, like we're talking about actual fascists and nationalists and shit like that, they are primarily on Facebook, Twitter, and I'm trying to think. I don't think they're on Reddit. And 4chan. That was the other one I was thinking of, was 4chan.
So here's Hassan Piker, and the CEO of Twitch has said that Hassan Piker is his favorite Twitch streamer.
I'm sick and tired of it. Left-wingers, liberals, you need to be fucking showing your opponent's guts on there, okay? You need to be gutting them. You need to be shanking these motherfuckers and letting their intestines just ride on stage. What the fuck is this shit, man? Slice them up. Slice them and fucking dice them. What the fuck is this?
874 Bellevue Drive, and I'm gonna kill you with my AR-15. Like that's the type of messages they were leaving in this dude's office, and he's resigning. Like he's literally, this is his last term. So I think that people are a lot more radical.
It's hurt poor people that they can afford housing in Berkeley. I don't know how that works.
My understanding is that the property owners who have properties there choose just not to rent it at all.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
You know what's funny about that is Hassan went down to the No More Kings protests in LA. Guess what he didn't do? He didn't LARP alongside his comrades who were getting tear gassed, and pepper balled, I believe, as well. No, he didn't. He just he backed away. And one case he left and went and had like a very expensive dinner instead. I just thought it was the funniest freaking thing. And I remember because this is where I was in the chat with some of my leftist friends in the protest community. They're like, dude, they don't like Hassan at all. They don't. They're like, dude, Hassan is a sellout. So,
he's an absolute POS. He's a champagne socialist.
Yeah, and that's why, like, when I see Hassan saying this, it's like, dude, you can't say this shit when you left your comrades to get gassed, pepper bombed, flashbanged, and all that in the streets. You can't say that crap. You bailed at the moment that it was getting really hot in LA. So, well, not weather-wise, but you know what I mean. So
now
he's just
there's
a straight
also
up LARPer.
there's also another one that's a LARPer and kind of, Destiny. He
Oh
had
God.
some. We're not going to play the whole thing. It's 6 minutes and 23 seconds of a man spiraling by himself in a room that's sparsely decorated. You can always assume how well that's going to go. He hasn't showered in days. So here's your here's a guy that is considered not someone who is a champion on the left, but somebody who has been regarded as a debater for the left, and he's had a really bad time in the past few months.
Oh, I did troll the shit out of the DDoS kid. That's a guy. That's one of the people. Like, legitimately, like, I was so. You have no. Like, it's actually kind of scary. Like, how close I was to getting people together to go down to his house and kill him and his family. Or it would have just been him and his father. Because I didn't know anything about. Dude, that was some of the most fucked up shit in my entire life. I was so fucking close to doing it.
You moron! Like, how much you want to bet? And these people piss me off, as I said, because I'm friends with people. I'm friends with like on the ground live streamers that record this stuff, and they've literally risked their lives doing this. And when I see this, it's like, dude, you better like just put out or shut up. If you are saying that you're gonna go against the system and do all these protests and shit like that, actually be there and stay there the entire time and see what you're getting yourself into.
No, Hassan supports people who work with the Houthis, and that's who he supports. He doesn't have time for Californians throwing cinder blocks over overpasses onto police cars. That's piddly stuff. But the whole thing that this is kind of working its way toward, I guess, is back to what RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., claimed about mass incidences. Again, I have to be careful because of YouTube. I'm only being careful because of YouTube, okay? And so what he's been pushing is that video games, particularly the kind that simulate rootin' tootin' shootin', are causing the incidences that we are witnessing on repeat now for, 2 decades we've been at this? 3. Columbine was back in the 90s. We were 3 decades into this now. And
it's very frustrating. We're talking about the same person as getting destroyed by health professionals right now. And I do not blame them because he is saying that, like, we need to get rid of antidepressants and SSRIs and just ban them. I'm like, no, I personally, because I am on an antidepressant, but it's not for depression. It's for anxiety disorder because it actually does treat people that have like constant panic attacks like I do. If it wasn't for my antidepressant, I would be in constant pain. I would be having a panic attack uncontrollably, constantly. I still get panic attacks, but it's not as bad as it was pre my antidepressant. So I don't trust it. I don't trust RFK. I think he is a quack. And just like the rest of the medical community thinks he's a quack. I don't understand why people like him. I don't get it. I think what he's doing is very dangerous to the health he says he's trying to make Americans healthy again. You're not making Americans healthy again by getting rid of their medication that they need, at least in my case, or pain medication for people that are in chronic pain.
For the case of video games, as Culture Crave notes here, it's been widely dismissed for many, many years that video games are directly linked to violence. Now, people who seek violence will seek violent video games. This does not mean that the video game is making them violent, is training them in violence either. There are, I would at least say, a handful of Super Smash Brothers players that have been nailed for interacting inappropriately with young women. By young women, I mean teenagers. Okay, and these are adult Super Smash Brother players that are ranked. They compete globally, that kind of stuff. And I don't think Super Smash Brothers taught them how to do that.
No.
Don't think good old Mario and Link and those other guys or Pikachu taught that guy to go after kids. Okay, I don't think that happened. Similarly, I don't believe that Call of Duty does anything other than help the military recruit. I would
say that you could make the same argument for like Battlefield and Medal of Honor too.
Oh, absolutely. You're dealing with games that do their best to simulate a semi-real life experience in gaming until you have Nicki Minaj twerking over your head after you get shot. But you know, skins aside, it is an attempt to make the military more accessible, military conflict more accessible to people so that, young men take an interest in getting involved in it. I don't believe that it trains them in how to execute that violence. If you want to assume that, like the Doom game, you remember Doom with Mecha Hitler and all that stuff?
Yeah.
So, excuse me, it wasn't Doom. That was another one. That's Wolfenstein. Sorry.
Yeah,
Wolfenstein.
But Doom was used as I can't remember. I don't think it was Columbine, but it was another one, another shooting that
Yeah.
the shooters referenced Doom.
Right. And again, like these games become outlets for that violence. I believe the Parkland shooter, the school shooter for Parkland, Adam Lanza, that kid, he was a Call of Duty player. I do not believe that Call of Duty was what made him want to do what he did.
No. He, like, I looked into this too when it happened. He had really bad psychiatric problems. He got misdiagnosed. The mental health system, as a product of a better mental health system, because I go to University of California for mental health and they're fantastic. The mental health system outside of that is really, really bad. It is horrible what's happening in the mental health system. Even in, my state, there's, if you're not like at a research institution or like a really good like hospital or whatnot that has like a great, that specializes in psychiatry or anything like that. Yeah, it's really, really awful. Kaiser, actually, that's a better example. Kaiser's mental health department is terrible. Oh my God. Kaiser, anything that Kaiser does is, oh God, Kaiser's
so
really bad.
Just a little bit after we went live,
Mhm.
Jimmy Kimmel has been taken off the air.
Off of Nextstar's affiliates.
Okay. So he's out with that. Apparently there is a lawsuit in the wind
Yep.
for Disney, who owns ABC.
Yep.
It's just one of those things where people get carried away, overzealous, and go ahead and say some very silly things, which what we were just talking about is, of course, like RFK Jr. getting excited and saying some very silly things. Because again, like we've talked about since the 90s when Hillary Clinton was running around calling black people super predators, video games are not the source of the problem. The intent is the source of the problem. And the intent begins long before the video game becomes part of that individual's life. It's that simple. So,
It's
no,
just,
I don't think Counter-Strike's doing it either. I mean, there was that kid that killed that other kid over that Charizard card, though.
oh yeah,
That sticks with me. So many years later, I'm still stuck on that one. Again, we go back to when you remember when Power Rangers was being excoriated by the moms of America for its violence.
Yeah, God, Moms of America. Well, Moms for Liberty is the new Moms of America. Let's be real.
As if
They're
we need
like-
more moms doing things like this.
Yeah, the Karens are like trying to ban everything.
We need more moms having babies, not complaining. More babies, less complaining. Anyway.
Or taking care of their kids instead of like relying on someone else to do it.
And that's where I'm getting at, though, is that rather than taking care of your child, and you remember you worked at GameStop, there'd be mothers that came in and bought their 12-year-old son Call of Duty because he said it was like Pokemon. And
I remember, and also the GameStop was treated like a daycare center for some of these parents, and they would just drop their kids off and go do their shopping, and that was very annoying.
Adam like Dance Revolution. That's what did it. That's what got him into it. He really took up the revolution part. But again, like when you go ahead and you blame the gun for the violence, the gun didn't shoot itself. The gun didn't walk itself into the area that it did its job. A gun is only built for one thing. It has one job. It has one job. It is not built for any other thing. We use it for other things, but it is not built for that. It has one singular lethal purpose. A video game does not do that. As I said before, you can wear skins of Nicki Minaj and go around twerking on dead bodies after you drop an opposite team. It is meant to be entertainment and escapism. It is not meant to be something that is, I guess, studied in the sense of imitatable violence. Like I was getting at with the Moms of America thing, they were very upset that Power Rangers was imitatable violence. But the problem was is that Power Rangers was targeted at 5 to 8-year-olds. Call of Duty is not. If your 5 to 8-year-old is subjected to Call of Duty, there's a parenting problem, not a product problem.
Yep.
So it just is what it is. And again, like this type of media is always going to come under scrutiny simply because of the nature of it. Now,
They won't come after, but they won't come after movies. They won't come after like violent movies or anything like IRL. No, it's always the pixels or the drawings fault for everything.
And that's what brings me to your thread about bocce.
Yep, with bocce and the rock. So this has been going viral on Japanese Twitter. Like the original post has like last I checked, it was like over 35 million views. It is insane that you have this screenwriter here basically all but admitting that they altered the designs pretty much and censored it because this person said what she said was like, I want to make sure that my kid could watch it.
Bingo.
But the other thing is, though, is she's a goddamn hypocrite. She's the literal meme because what she's done, though, she's done fan service episodes for Tiger and Bunny. And Token Rambo, I think is the other one that she did. And so it's like, it's that meme where you have the feminist saying that with the female characters, that's ew, pedo, all that. And then on the opposite side with the yaoi, it's like, yes, my babies, that kind of thing. That's what we have here. When I'm saying we have the meme, that's what I mean by we have the meme.
Well, and we're looking at like the leaking over of American and Korean style feminism into Japanese media now. As it says right here, we've read this from fucking Collective Shout. You're going to hear a lot of Melinda Tank Top come through here, okay? So this is what Erica had to say. She said, she strongly denied, quote, people don't talk like that in real life, including scenes where girls comment on each other's breast size.
Which is bullshit because we women do it a lot. There's something called titty envy for a reason.
Yeah,
so.
I used to have a top-heavy friend that talked about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I had thought that such scenes were common and casual in anime, but Yoshida Erica declared, unless that's the selling point of the work, it's just noise. So
she's basically saying that if it's like not an ecchi kind of thing, that or even a seinen, maybe I would include that in this discussion, that it's just noise. It's unnecessary fan service. And when I saw this, I was like, well, that might explain why the Orihime scene was straight up removed from Bleach 1000-Year Blood War, even though Kubo made sure that if Bleach 1000-Year Blood War had a late night slot specifically for that scene.
Well, and we're looking at that, like I said, leaking over into the Japanese media market here, because we're seeing sort of I want to say like a sensationalized response to characters like these here.
Yeah.
So you see, again, like these are, there's the ugly characters here. I didn't make this, the ugly characters here. But as you can see, these are characters that are always, the topic of discussion when we talk about like fan service, unnecessary things. Noise, as this Erica Yoshida likes to mention here. I'm trying to find the My Hero Academia characters, because again, that's another one that's like, there it is. Why is this on Facebook? Gosh, never mind. I'm not even gonna look at it. Gross. But so here we go. It's from the Wikipedia. So here you go. These side by sides of how the characters were handled. And again, like there's a lot of people that complain that these are teenage characters, that these are obviously being sexualized. And I'm not going to tell you that that's not happening here. I'm not going to tell you that these anime characters running around in bikinis are not sexy. I'm not going to tell you that. But I'm going to tell you that I don't believe this is something that's meant to train people to prey upon teenage girls.
It's not.
I don't believe that the intention behind creating this media is to give people the idea that they should seek teenage girls.
It's also the people that are bitching about it and complaining the loudest. Every time I see them, I'm like, have you been even around teenage girls, especially nowadays? There's a term that my former assistant manager at GameStop told me about. She was big on the rave scenes. And at raves, when you see like skanky 17, 18-year-olds at a rave, the ravers call them prostitutes. So they exist. They do. You see, I remember, I think it was it Limited 2 or something like that? This was years ago. But they had like, kind of like the stupid spoiled horror episode of South Park. They had like really, really skimpy outfits for girls, for young girls. So it's like, dude, have you just not been around girls before? And then when I see it's other women saying this, I'm like, yeah, there's got to be like some insecurity going on.
Well, and that's so a lot of the things that we've learned over the years about the uglification and the flattening and the rectangularification of Western characters is because the female directors that are in charge of these projects are jealous that they perceive these anime characters, video game characters, to be sexual competition to them. And so they want them watered down and ugly so that you are not paying attention to that character. You instead are looking at the more attractive, which again is, by the standard of anybody else, mid, the more attractive developer, because we can't have the character shining brighter than the female developer. And that's what we've learned, is that there's that innate competition. Like my father, he's gone, of course, but not like abandoned. He's with God. And he used to say, he said, you can't have two women in the same house. You can't have two women in the same house. It doesn't work. They fight with each other. And, it's because of stuff like this. Top heavy ladies tend to get more attention than ladies who are not so top heavy. And that makes ladies who are not so top heavy annoyed.
AKA the titty envy. And it's not just the washboards, AKA the flat chested. It's also the obese Karens too, the fugly Karens that are jealous because they wish their boobs were as good.
You're them good boobs instead of them bad boobs. You don't want them bad boobs.
Not flat pancake boobs.
Well, and this is why I chose Rangiku to display this, because Rangiku is not her boobs. She's not a character that makes a big deal out of that. It's just Taite Kubo was like, I want to draw a big booby Soul Reaper. Is that what they are? Yeah, I keep forgetting. It's been a long time. And I want to draw a big booby Soul Reaper, and she did, and he did. And that's where Rangiku came from. But, it was like the same thing with what happened with Oda. Oda said, like, the reason why everybody's busty is because I like drawing big boobs. It's not that hard. It's not that complex.
Women like drawing big boobs too. So it's like,
few.
Look at Demon Slayer. Kunroji has huge boobs. And you don't see people complaining about her. We see the people complaining about like Nezuko, but that's when she's in her demon form. But it's like, dude, she's in her demon form. Like, who the fuck cares? Just enjoy the art.
Yeah, right. I'm just unfortunately I can't find that character without like a pile of not so helpful imagery going with it, I guess you might say.
Yeah.
So again, like, it's become so difficult to tell what is and isn't real from the show. So like right now, that's why I'm stuttering, as I'm trying to look through the screenshots out here, and I can't tell what's actually real because oh wait, no, this one probably is because it's tiny. So this is the character that Nerdigans is talking about.
She's got big boobs, big thighs, and I think the boobs could look a little bit better. Especially when you look at Katoge's art for Kenrochi, but she looks a little bit flatter here than compared to like her manga counterpart. But I think that's probably just this shot.
Right. And but that leads us into the next conversation that we have here. and that is about Demon Slayer's great numbers. Now, it might have to do with these boobs, but it probably has to do with just how awesome Demon Slayer is.
Yeah, Demon Slayer is breaking records. And something that I noticed was that I looked at Fandango out of curiosity to see what was going on with the screening times. Well, unlike a lot of anime movies that we've seen in the West, they have like at least 4 screenings a day, whereas the usual number is like 1 to 2 screenings per day for like 2 days, maybe 1 to 2 days. Demon Slayer, from what I saw, is that it's going to be, at least for now anyway, it probably will get extended. It's screening until like next week, at least in my area. So it broke Pokemon's record too. And you know what? I'm going to say this because I say this every time, and I'm hoping this is going to happen with Chainsaw Man at some point too, is that if Pokemon had amazing marketing, now Demon Slayer had even more amazing marketing, then the numbers would probably be even higher. Same with Jujutsu Kaisen Zero. Jujutsu Kaisen Zero got nothing. And it was barely screened at any theaters. It was a limited amount of theaters. Like Demon Slayer, it's getting screened everywhere. And I'm hoping that Sony is looking at this because Aniplex is owned by Sony, and and Demon Slayer is one of their biggest properties. I'm hoping Sony is looking at this and be like, or Toho, they're looking at this like, oh my God, we're getting huge numbers here. I wonder what would happen if we actually marketed our movie.
What a surprise.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that's going to be the case for Rize. Like seeing that there is a Vegeta popcorn bucket coming, and it's actually better than the freaking crap popcorn bucket that they did for Demon Slayer. I think that's a good sign.
Well, and Kenneth Domingo brings up a big point here. He says, due to Erika Yoshida outing herself for that and knowing that pattern of events that befell on Western entertainment and Japanese games, I fear anime and manga is going to follow suit in the future.
Manga, I doubt it. Anime, I will say this in terms of like character designs. I'm going to have to ask my Aniplex insider on this, because something that we've noticed is a lot more of the thicker female characters. Like you saw in the My Hero Academia screenshot, they're getting a little bit slimmer. So you're losing some of their thickness. The cheeks, we saw this last week with like Zombie Man, for example. The cheeks are getting more sunken in, so you don't have the round, chubby cheek anymore. So so something is going on with that. And it's not just the women being affected by this too. It's guys that are muscular, like in their manga counterpart, are being slimmed down. It is the weirdest thing.
Right, because sex appeal is bad. They want to tell you that sex appeal is bad, especially in children's cartoons. Now, again, this comes out of that Disney rubber body concept where everybody runs around without pants, but you don't care because they're animals, and that's okay. But God forbid you have Minnie or Daisy without a skirt on, and that oh boy, there's hell to pay then. But this is more along the line of that thinking that when children absorb information, it should be as watered down, as dumbed down, as base level as it could possibly be, because they're dumb children. And they might get the wrong idea out of a character who is shapely. They might get the wrong idea out of a character who is an Adonis-like character, very well constructed and worked very hard to build a body like that, like Baki character.
Or
granted, Baki's pretty extreme, but what's that?
Like Kengan characters. If you've read Kengan Asura and Kengan Omega, the characters are very muscular. They're not like roided. Well, one of them is, I'd say maybe 2 of them that I could think of are somewhat more on the roided up side. But like the majority of them are just like muscular, like an average fighter would be.
Well, and that's again like what we're talking about with Dragon Ball Z. So if you think about it, right, Dragon Ball Z inspired millions of guys around the world to work out, to get buff, to look cool in Saiyan armor and Goku's gi. So obviously, that didn't have a negative effect unless, of course, you're one of those people. Of course, not you, of course, but if this person that wants to see this information wrung out, this style wrung out, if you're insulted by that. And that's what we saw here, is that men weren't allowed to be muscular anymore because that was a signal of some type of bravado that was negative, a toxic masculinity. And you'll see that come up in Japanese conversations now. Oh, is it bad for us to tell little boys to work out after they spent the past 10 years wall-to-wall anime, workout anime? The government likes to say that they don't influence anime, but it's very strange how the whole, like, how like 5 or 10 companies will put out the same topic on an anime. Like you had a bunch of bodybuilder anime, a bunch of workout anime, a bunch of track and field anime for about 5 years there when the government was fighting obesity. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, they decided to like adapt specific series to that do that. So
yeah, and the government didn't say that they had anything to do with that, but you and I both know. You and I both know.
Probably had a little bit of something to do with it. But yeah, I don't think this is. But real quick, I don't think this is going to affect manga. I don't. I think this is more so just the anime industry and video game industry that this is going to affect. And and the other thing is though, and speaking of babying down, the localizations for English dubs are just unbelievably insane. I mean, and I like when I look at Witch Watch, for example, that dub is just bad, and I have to wonder because they do some infantile shit in there in terms of the dialogue, and I wonder, like, and I've asked people on Twitter this too. It's like, who is this for? Like, do they not know who the target audience is? It's the same thing with a couple of Cuckoos has probably one of the worst dub localizations I have ever seen. It's up there with Lovely Complex. It is bad. And when I look at like some of the changes they did, I'm just like, do they even know who the audience for this series is? I gotta wonder.
Of course they don't.
And in the case of Gachi Yakuta, best way to describe Gachi Yakuta is like the Dragon Ball Z Funimation dub, where the voice actors are actually decent. Well, except for Rudo and Zanka. Those were bad choices. But the writing is very like corny, very quippy, and they'll change some of it to where it's just like a huge what the fuck? Like, what are you doing this for?
Right. And again, like these changes are erroneous. They're not helping. They're not assisting in these changes. So it'd be one thing if they were making these changes and it helped clear things up. It really only serves to convolute the dialogue further. They don't make sense. They go from saying very stoic and consistent things to all of a sudden talking like a TikTok influencer.
Oh, in the case of a couple of Cuckoos, I'm going to put this in my article for this dub. There was some cultural erasure in not this week's episode. I still need to finish this week's episode, but in the previous episode where they changed when the main character Nagi faints and he says yakisoba, in the dub he says $5 footlong. I'm dead serious. He says holy $5 footlong, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like that's some for kids kind of shit right there.
Yeah. That's erasing. That's jelly donuts. Look at these jelly donuts. I'm so glad that I have these jelly donuts, Ash.
Hi, kitty.
Always remember that one.
Let me see if I can find it because I have it. You could go. You go ahead. When I find it, I'll.
Well, no, this is your topic again. So we have Stop CSAM Act of 2025, and it is collective shout marinated.
Yeah, it really is. It's very NCOS / collective shout realness going on in there because I've seen NCOS members and collective shout members, specifically NCOS members in the case of Section 230, like they are demanding Section 230 be removed in general. And with collective shout, as well as NCOS, they want to get rid of end-to-end encryption. Because they think it's going to protect the kids.
Again, like we're looking at these people that are using this protect the kids thing as a mask to hide their control agenda. It has nothing to do with the children. It has everything to do with controlling what you're allowed to say. It says right here, the bill allows a new type of lawsuit to be filed against internet platforms accusing them of facilitating child exploitation based on the speech of others. It does this by creating an exception to the Section 230, the foundational law of the internet and online speech. Section 230 provides partial immunity to internet intermediaries when sued over content posted by their users. Without that protection, platforms are much more likely to aggressively monitor and censor users. Section 230 creates the legal breathing room for internet intermediaries to create online spaces for people to freely communicate around the world with low barriers to entry. However, creating a new exception that exposes providers to more lawsuits will cause them to limit that legal exposure. Online services will censor more and more user content and accounts with minimal regard as to whether that content is in fact legal. Some platforms may even be forced to shut down or may not even get off the ground in the first place for fear of being swept up in a flood of litigation and claims around alleged child exploitation media. On balance, this harms all internet users who rely on intermediaries to connect with other countries and the world at large.
Yeah, it's very scary. Okay. Yeah, here we go. This is where I wanted. This is where I was talking about in a couple of cuckoos, where it is just straight up cultural erasure. So here is, I wasn't kidding. They put holy $5 footlong up in this anime, in this dub.
Ah.
I told
Pain.
Then they got rid of Nakata, which is, a sumo thing, and they just changed it to come at me. I'm like, okay. And then they got rid of Tabi. They just left it as sucks. It's like, dude, they're at a Japanese shrine. So it's like, why get rid of it? Like, this is some 4Kids crap.
Yeah.
That we're seeing here. And they got rid of Uminote, which is the name of the restaurant, and they changed it to Family Diner. I'm like, what? What are you doing?
Right.
Like, that's what I mean by this dub is just on another level of crazy. This is the same dub that had the Yas Queen up in there, too. It is just on another level of cringe. But there's another one, too. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. From this week's episode, where they had this little message for minors, and I just lost it. I think it's up. No, it's down here. It's down here. Where is it?
Make sure to follow Miss Nerdigans over on X, by
because
the
that's
way.
really scary.
Make sure to follow Miss
me if you
Nerdigans
want
over
more
there.
insanity.
She keeps a pretty
Like,
good
See,
record
this
of
is.
it. You have to make that bigger. We can't see that.
Oh, let me. This is Witch Watch. Okay, Witch Watch has like both the manga and sometimes the sub, but especially the dub have like really bad localization. So you're getting rid of who are you with somebody's being handsy, but like this one was just like a huge what the fuck. Like why would you do that? Why would you change the
right?
Yeah, it's so bad. Like, this is the insanity I've been dealing with every week going through this. Like, this is like very like yaoi-esque that they're trying to push here.
Sure.
And then like this happens in localized, especially a couple of cuckoos as well, is where they're trying to make it sound very poetic and more complex than it needs to be. And it's weird. They got rid of the yokai part and just put lore. That did not make sense to me at all. Like, why? You're saying Japanese anyway. Like, just have yokai up in there. That did not make sense to me.
Well,
But,
yokai isn't
like,
lore; it's
you have
ghosts
this
and.
too. Yeah. Then they're changing weird to quirky, which is like, what the fuck are you doing? But this wasn't the
I
one
like
that I
that
wanted
better.
to show originally. I wanted to. Well, there's Gachi Akuda. Gachi Akuda gets really, really bad, but that's not the one I wanted. I need a couple of cuckoos so you could see there's like some virtue signaling up in here that I just couldn't believe I should be able to believe it because, yeah, this is Crunchyroll we're talking about. So
Sure.
here, yeah, here it is, right here. There's this one which is very cringy. Oh my God, I couldn't believe this. Like, my poor eye got really screwed over. This is the second time they did this to her lines. Like the first time was in regards to like she referenced rom-com movies, and I'm like, oh God, seriously. Like But
Oh
this
no,
is
it's
the
not
other
the
one.
voice actors, Kirby. This is the actual paid
No, it's not.
actors.
Yeah, these are the ADR script writers that are doing this. Then there's this.
Yeah, do minors still do this exchanging drinks thing? I don't know what that has to do with anything.
If it's exchanging sake, they're just exchanging sake. That's all they're doing.
Well,
Because
why
like a mock
why
wedding.
bother? Who needs to contextualize that that's sake?
They just said it in
Like,
the sub.
I don't
They just said-
understand.
They,
Yeah,
well, in the
exchange
sub-
drinks. See? And it's not like exchange sake, exchange, getting drunk off our ass. It's none of that. So you don't have to change anything because people can assume it's some mystic water. And if you have to, just call it mystic water. That's it. You're done. You don't have to sit there and be like, oh, so they're minors, they're drinking alcohol. We need to contextualize that. No.
No, they project their shit up into this one especially. Like, I want to point this out here.
Boob anime character.
Erica says in English, if you listen to the sub, in English, she says happy wedding. So there's no excuse for this crap. When she, and I know people are going to be like, well, mouth flaps. She said happy wedding in English. You don't need to change anything. You just need to have like the dub voice actor say it. That's it.
See, this is the craziest thing. Remember Dragon Ball Z Abridged and Hellsing Abridged?
Yeah.
They managed to take care of the mouth flapping. No problem. They managed to go through and edit everything so it looks like the characters are actually saying the crazy lines that they invented. What is going on? Why are these people 15 years behind Team 4-Star? This is crazy.
Oh, this is where I was like, yeah, there's some projection here because they changed. It would have been a big deal if this was a real wedding too. You held it together well. I would have cost twice the scene. I'm just like, dude, that is some projection up in here. There's a lot of it up in dub localizations right now. It is just insane. But anyways, that was the main thing I wanted to show for now. There might be something else in a little bit, but depending on where we're at. But yeah, I want you guys to understand that this is like, people will say it's the voice. Well, sometimes the voice actors are the ADR script writers, but no, this is the ADR script writers and the ADR directors that are doing this.
I don't want to learn Japanese, Kirby. I don't want to. I got so much stuff to do already.
It's more, I just think it's more frustrating that you have, and this happens like all the time too, where you have characters saying, if you listen, and this is why on my Patreon, when I do anime live reactions, I have the audio so that you guys can hear that, yeah, they're saying these words in English. There's no excuse to freaking change this dialogue when they're saying it in English.
AI can handle that now.
Well, in terms of localization, oh yeah.
Yeah. If you're patient enough with the voice generators, you can actually get a pretty convincing voice line out of it. Like this right here. Like I only have a little bit of voice audio with this, but
We can't let it end like this. We can't let her win.
I handled all the audio for that. I did all the audio. I did not record the voices. I went out and I went over to 11 Labs. That is a voice generator AI platform. And I played around with a couple of voices until I got the correct one. And that, again, is just giving it the correct prompt. I told it, anime voice actor screaming in distress. And I gave it the line that I wanted, and it read it out perfectly fine. Now, I know it sounds kind of tinny because of the way that StreamYard is compressing the audio. But, again, I'm not a multi-million-dollar Japanese studio with the ability to go in and edit that audio that was generated and make it sound more realistic. I didn't bother with that because frankly, I don't know how. And so, again, these companies can just do that now. I don't know why they haven't. I think it's just Japanese honor. They don't want to go through and be like, well, we'll replace the English guys with AI. I think that's one of those dishonorable ideas in their minds, but it's not going to be for too much longer. It is not going to be for too much longer.
But I don't think that the thing is, though, as I said, like, I think the main problem is not so much the some of them with voice acting is like nails on a chalkboard. It's fucking horrible, but that's miscasting and also misdirecting. The directing being really really bad, but it's mainly the localization. And if they want to use AI to help it change up the mouth flaps, go for it. But like a good chunk of the localization changes I see are when characters are doing an inner monologue, and or they're not looking away. They're not looking at the camera. So you have no excuse. You can say that there's a mouth flap excuse, but there's not in a good chunk of the time, from what I've noticed.
And that's kind of like what I'm getting at is that the Japanese do not need a translator anymore. ChatGPT, even Grok and all of its stupid might can come through with a contextualized Japanese translation now. It doesn't do like the Google one-to-one thing anymore. It contextualizes the statement and gives you an accurate translation now. Semi-accurate. And again, they don't need it to be absolutely perfect, okay? Because again, they can have an American or an English first speaker on staff that lives in Japan that can listen to that and say that doesn't sound right. It's not their job to tell them if the wording is correct. It's their job to say that's not how you pronounce that. That's not how an English sentence is constructed. It's not going to be their job to tell them what to say. They're just going to hear it and say, nope, that's not correct. It's like a game tester. Not their job to fix it. And so that's what you're going to end up with, because this is I demonstrated with that clip. You don't need to have the English voice actors anymore. The people in Japan right now can start generating these voice clips right now. You can even create your own voice with 11 Labs. You don't have to have someone sit down and record a bunch of voice lines so you can copy them. You can use the AI to generate a full voice profile and create a whole cloth new voice actor that you're in total control of. Guess what, anime studios? You don't have to compete with the schedule of that actor anymore. You don't have to worry about them saying crazy things on Twitter. You don't have to worry about them getting involved in a jelly bean-based sex scandal. All right. The only thing you have to worry about is making sure your credits are full enough to generate what you need to get through an episode. How about that?
Yeah.
And guess what? 11 Labs has a studio function. So you can put multiple characters into the AI and they will respond to one another based on the script and your directions. So you can literally plug the script in from your anime that's been translated for English and just walk away. It'll generate that for you. And you come back, you download it, slap it into the editor, time it right, and you're done. You don't even have to involve Funimation anymore. You can tell all those guys to pound sand.
Well, it's mainly the ones that are having the biggest issue. In terms of sub localizations, it is Sentai Filmworks, the same people that hire Katrina, the notorious Katrina. And
the notorious Kitrna.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I got that wrong. Katrina. Whatever. I'm tired.
But it's okay. Crunchyroll is very hit or miss, and Netflix is very hit or miss too. Because I went through Sakamoto Days season 2 dub for the hell of it, and there's some questionable stuff up in there in terms of the line changes. It's like sometimes they just mean something completely different.
Kirby says, I would rather have It's Friday in California in all the anime. That's funny. You remember that from Kaku Ranger? The guy says, today is Friday in California. Shoot. And he shoots at the Power Ranger guy. I love it. That's a post that every Friday. There's an actual Twitter account that today is Friday in California, and it literally for years has been posting that like 15.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
It's amazing. I love it. But we do have some bad news. Speaking of voice actors, now this is one of those ones where it's not his fault this time. So the Beast Boy voice actor, Greg Sipes, I think I'm saying that right?
Yes, Greg Sipes.
He has been let go from the production of Teen Titans Go and Teen Titans related media as it has been created or licensed or sanctioned by Warner Brothers.
Yep, and he's been doing the Beast Boy voice since like 2003 when the original Teen Titans came out.
There is no other Beast Boy voice.
Yeah, it's him. He is Beast Boy, and apparently he was fired. The news broke like I want to say last week that he was fired like after his Parkinson's diagnosis became
Correct.
public, and it was on Valentine's Day too, which makes it
Yes.
even worse. But I'm surprised he hasn't like filed a lawsuit, because that could, especially since he's saying disabilities here, that would probably qualify under ADA, and you can't do that.
Well, he's got a statement here that he had with Cartoon Base, and Cartoon Base asked him some questions, and so he had a very lengthy response explaining what happened. So I will attempt to read that. Okay, I guarantee you I will screw it up. It is not by intention. It's not my intention. And so Greg Sipes says this. He says, this kind of situation happens to way too many people with disabilities. I'm hoping my story can help everyone that needs it. Being terminated was a big, horrendous surprise because the success of season 9 that I had participated in secured the pickup for season 10. And I thought that was going to be recording season. I was going to be recording season 10 of Teen Titans Go as Beast Boy with the cast, like I always have done for 400 plus episodes. Okay. I was feeling good from my Parkinson's treatments and ready to continue to record until this firing occurred and making me audition multiple times for a role that I have been playing for 23 years. I thought Sam Register, I'm going to assume that's how you say it.
Yeah.
I thought Sam Register at WB actually was my friend and appreciated me for creating Beast Boy's unique voice, legacy, and huge success for the studio. So, goes on to say here, I'm just going to highlight this for you guys out in the chat so you know where I am and all of it. And where am I? So even I lost my place.
Because it's a lot of text, so yeah, it's understandable.
I thought WB understood what I was going through while figuring out how to manage my Parkinson's disease, which took a little time.
And by the way, that's real quick. That is something that legally in California they have to do, and I think federally too. They have to accommodate disabilities, and if they know he has a disability, which obviously with Parkinson's, and he has evidence of that, a doctor's approval that everything's okay and he can, record just fine. There's no reason for him to get fired like this, and that really opens Warner Brothers up for a nice lawsuit.
We'll have to see. But for right now, this is what he had to say about it. And so he says, I texted Sam, that's Sam Register, continuously with health updates. At this point, the whole situation has been nothing but an inhuman nightmare that WB, Cartoon Network, and DC has put the whole cast, all Beast Boy Teen Titans fans, and I through. Firing me while dealing with the worst health crisis anyone can go through has hurt me deeply, and it really sucked. Being fired on Valentine's Day also felt like an unjustified big FU from WB casting department. It seems like disgusting and twisted, cruel message from Sam Register at WB, but I don't know what they're thinking over.
I don't think any of us know what Warner Brothers is thinking.
Yeah, not even David Zaslav. So, never what I thought would happen to me after 23 years of my service to the life of my character Beast Boy. I created the original Beast Boy voice from my soul and heart, and all the energy I had went into promoting Beast Boy because he was me. I literally used my own life in the character. The way Beast Boy talks, his personality, his sense of humor, his passion for animals and vegetarian diet, and now somebody's gonna mimic me. It doesn't feel right at all to be basically having my whole voice stolen from me. Replacing me with an impersonator is never gonna do Beast Boy justice. It'll just be a bootleg version of my soul and iconic voice that I created. I helped to fully build and create one of the most popular cartoons and animated characters to ever air on TV, and I would have expected a lot more reverence, respect, and patience during my challenging times with Parkinson's. To date, I can imagine that I helped to make the studio and network billions of dollars with my contribution as an actor over the years. The little guy always gets stepped on. Side note, my Parkinson's treatments are working really well. I'm doing and feeling great and easily able to perform my role as Beast Boy. So this is where it starts to get evil, and I'm not going to show you the part that's super evil. So Cartoon Base asks, what is your acceptable solution to the situation? And so this is what Greg Sipes replies with. And he says, my UC Davis neurologist doctor has written a letter to Warner Brothers just asking for a little more patience while I'm in the booth to record Beast Boy.
Which is something that is real quick. That is something that is very standard for anyone that is asking for accommodations. And even this is even for like government stuff too. Is that you got to get either fill out a form or have a letter from your doctor, or in my case, psychiatrist, explaining the situation and what accommodations that the individual needs.
So he goes on to say this, and he says, to have the courtesy to be given the opportunity to have my role back, that would be satisfactory to me. I just want to continue to play my Beast Boy.
I think it's supposed to be my role of Beast Boy.
My role of Beast Boy with my cast, like I've been doing for 23 years, because I can with a little patience and support. I just need a little extra time sometimes to deliver the lines. Now, this is where it gets dark. Tara Strong said she spoke to Sam a few weeks ago, and she told me that Sam said he didn't want me to hold up the production.
That is very much ADA. That goes against ADA. And Warner Brothers really opening yourself for a ADA lawsuit. Because employers are supposed to accommodate people with disabilities. For those of you that don't know about ADA, and if they're firing you because of your disability, especially in this situation, that's considered discrimination.
Oh, it is, because here we go. Cartoon Base asks, how are they trying to replicate your voice and your legacy of Beast Boy? Warner Brothers essentially stealing the original, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Greg Sipes replies with, they have somebody listening to my voice and trying their best to copy me. My cadence, my passion, my sense of humor, my soul and voice are not replicatable. Replicable? Maybe,
yeah, replicable. That's right.
Sorry. I'm a hick. Anyway, it's not going to be authentic, and the fans are going to know it and feel it if this continues. It's also silly and not needed because I can perform my role as Beast Boy even with Parkinson's. I just sometimes need a little extra time in the recording booth for reading a few extra takes occasionally. The whole cast adamantly fought tooth and nail to try and convince WB not to replace me with the mimic impersonator. Our energy together as a cast is what made the show so good. When together, we made the team so loved because of our love for each other.
Which is true. So, you could feel the love from the voice cast when they're performing in Teen Titans.
And so, this is Mr. Sipes with his dog and his character.
I think he's even appeared as himself in Teen Titans Go, but I could be wrong.
Oh, geez, Hibiki Gamer, man. Yeah, speedy recovery. Absolutely. You tested positive for COVID,
that
man.
Sucks.
Be super careful. Anything that feels weird, go to the doctor, okay?
Yeah, and be prepared for to get chest x-rays. A lot of them.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, because
we're praying for you. That's
COVID really fucks up your lungs, and it'll stay that from the studies I saw anyway. It stays in your lungs for a really long period of time, and will turn your lungs black because that's where it affects it. It targets the lungs. So,
but we don't want to scare the guy.
No, I'm just saying. People recover from COVID just fine, but they still have like black in their lungs. It shows up in their X-ray.
Okay, we're just the brightest
much.
ray of sunshine on this one. Hibiki Gamer, you're gonna be fine. Eat your carrots, okay? Everything's gonna be okay,
and all that.
You know what to do for yourself anyway. You know what works for you. But Mr. Sipes goes on to explain, about how his history with the character and how he
not having a voice actor. It says voice actor. They asked if he was going to voice act another character, and
nothing was clear right now.
Nothing was clear.
There was no. Wow. Okay, man, it's really taking its toll on you, dude.
Ooh.
Absolutely, Hibiki. You need to. Anytime something weird happens like that, it's time to call the doctors. It's not a good time to take a risk on that stuff, as you know. But I'm just reassuring you that you're right to seek medical attention if something goofy starts happening.
Yeah.
This is fake news. I don't know about that.
I don't know, because I don't know about that either, because I had to like go to the freaking government, the state government, and I think even the federal government to get to make sure that my school gave me my accommodations, or at least like work with me on getting everything together. It's when you're dealing with a mental illness, like Parkinson's is like an invisible illness too, technically. It's a lot harder to like prove that, well, for one, that you're disabled. For one thing, it's a pain in the ass, and just to get accommodations in general. I didn't even know I was qualified for accommodations until like I want to say my second year in community college, something like that. So yeah, it's crazy.
Richard says he's still going to work for Warner Brothers, just not on that project. And that may be. He didn't say that that was going to be the case. I can't imagine them saying this guy's holding up this production and putting him on another one. That if that's a reason to fire him, it seems awfully silly to bring him back, right? Because if he's going to be a threat to the production schedule of one production, and that's your logic for getting rid of him, how is he not going to be that problem on another production? So that's what the problem is that this guy did nothing wrong. Regardless of how you feel about how he's reacting to it, he didn't do anything wrong. And to lose his job over a complication like this is ridiculous. In the year that we have so much technology, that some of these shows were recorded from home.
Yeah.
Way back in the day, you had the Daily Show that was out of Noah What's-His-Face's living room. There's no reason to be so formal and uptight about how production works anymore. And obviously they have time to have this guy take 2 takes. Do you know how long it takes to record this stuff? They're absolutely got time for it.
And I mean, like, the other thing is too, it's like, this is not like a rookie that we're dealing with. This is someone that has been there for like
23 years playing the same character. It's not like he was going around being Bugs Bunny, Yosemite Sam, and all these other guys at the same time. Beast Boy was his bread, butter, and Beast Boy.
That was his baby. It's kind of like saying
that's the word.
Yeah, it's kind of like taking saying that Tara Strong needs to can't play Raven anymore because of an illness.
Raven would not be characterized even in the comics. She would not be a beloved character. There's the cult of Raven still out there. They would not be so in love. Exactly.
Same with
same
My
can
Little
be said for
Pony.
Mr. Sipes.
Same with Tara Strong and like My Little Pony with Twilight Sparkle. You can't replace her. Cartoon Network tried to did replace her for Powerpuff Girls 2016, and that didn't work out very well.
Well, he says this. Richard says this harms the brand. Likely would have been part of his contract as well. No, I don't think it's legal advice. Don't worry about it.
No, I don't think, like, there's no way this is part. If that is part of his contract as well, like, that's kind of violating ADA regardless.
You know, and beside that, though, this is a guy that put in 23 years. And that's my gripe, whether you feel like it's going to hurt Teen Titans Go to have them delayed by a couple weeks, months, whatever. That's irrelevant. This is the company store attitude that you move 16 tons and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. And that's my gripe about this is Sipes gave his life to this. And these people were like, yeah, man, you're making it real hard for season 10. So we're going to throw you to the skids and have somebody pretend to be you so we can get this truck moving. And that's rough. And that's my gripe with it is like, there was no respect. There was just like, we got stuff to do. You are holding that up. Bye-bye. And I can't swallow that. I guess I'm not built for the show business thing. We just get run over all the time. But you know, this rubs me the wrong way to do this to a guy that gave the better part of his adult life. He's not 50. He gave the better part of his adult life to playing this character, and they were like, yeah, man, your shakes are holding up the process. So
this is where a union would come in and help, but SAG-AFTRA doesn't give a crap about voice actors.
Oh, what do you know? What a surprise. But,
for those of you that don't know, voice actors are at the bottom of the totem pole, and that's probably why you see a lot more celebrity actors or more actors like taking voice acting roles, is because they pay the SAG-AFTRA dues. They pay so much in SAG-AFTRA dues, and voice actors, and including anime dub voice actors and video game voice actors, they do not.
Well, and speaking of anime voice actors, we are going to get treated to them when we get to go see this new popcorn bucket from Chainsaw Man. And you're not going to believe how it works. So here you go. You got the little guy there. And then check it out. You stuff your popcorn in the back just like that so it can spill out all over your lap. Perfect.
It's cute.
But otherwise, you get your Chainsaw Jelly Bean Man. And
you get
there you go.
Vegeta. He looks so cute. Why couldn't this be the case for Demon Slayer? Why couldn't they have like the box that Nezuko was in, or Inosuke's mask, or something better than that stupid tin? I know some people like it, but still.
I don't think that I didn't have a good vehicle for it. You know, that's one of the things is like you can't make a Tanjiro's head because his head's all spiky. And, you know, when you make it Nezuko's box, that's fine. That would have worked. But I don't think they felt that was iconic enough. And so they probably,
Even though
that's why they shied.
Iconic.
Well, here in the West, I don't know because I'm not in their think tanks to know what they are like testing the moms and teens of America over what they recognize Demon Slayer over.
Yeah.
And that's probably what they ran into is they were like, there's nothing in Demon Slayer that's like a Pikachu. There's no thing that's like, that's Demon Slayer that isn't all like sharp and protrudy.
That has to be one of the better popcorn buckets that have come out this year, I think.
I don't see like it's not much of a bucket, to be honest with you. It's just it's a character statue you could put stuff in. It doesn't bucket much. So like the Deadpool one was more buckety than this. This is like, wouldn't you like the little Gachi Yakuta character that you can stuff full of stuff? Man. Yeah, the Chainsaw Man, sorry. The Chainsaw Man character that you would like to stuff full of stuff.
Yeah, you could put your figures in there or like your accessories in there, which is probably what some people are going to do.
Or souvenirs.
But
anyway, that's out there coming to a theater near you. Make sure that you get your cute little guy that does stuff. And speaking of things that are happening in anime, we do have the Fire Force Season 3 trailer here. Now, if you don't know, Fire Force is still going on. I did not know that.
This is the final core of Fire Force.
That's why, because I was like, man, this is going on for a really long time.
Yeah, so basically this is set like right after Shimura comes back from learning the origins of the cataclysm, and he discovers that he was out for 3 months and that his doppelganger took over and gave him a makeover, quite the makeover, because he has tattoos on his body and his hair is blonde, so he looks like a delinquent. But one of the best things I really hope it's good is the pillars. They have different doppelgangers up in there. And one of them, and this is like one of my favorite fights in this series, is Benimaru's fight with the doppelganger of his master. Because you learn about his backstory and their connection, and it's incredible. That story is really good. And also that final attack that he used. Oh my god, it was amazing. When he surpassed his master, it was great. Also, this is going to be the core that will have the War on Reboots arc, and because doppelgangers, to like when we saw Corona go up against his doppelganger, it was very much giving like a reboot kind of thing. And also, we're getting the War on Sex Appeal, which is one of the best arcs of this manga. That arc, when it was written, Okubo was getting a lot of crap about the fan service in Fire Force, so he's like, you know what? I'm going to write a big FU arc to all these Karens.
There you go. Speaking of a big FU, though, Akira Toriyama's former editor has said some very crass things about Daima.
Even though that Akira Toriyama wrote Daima.
Right.
That's like, I think,
kind of the problem.
I think Battle of Gods and I think Daima are the ones that he like literally wrote the script for, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong about Battle of Gods, but I know for a fact Daima, he wrote that script.
Well, and he says right here, Akira Toriyama's former editor says Dragon Ball Super should have been a Vegeta story and Daima is shitty. Now, this fellow right here, of course, worked with Akira Toriyama for a long enough time to have
God,
said
I love that
such.
freaking. I love that scene when when Vegeta gets Ultra Ego. Oh my god, it's so good. I love Dragon Ball Super manga. I can't wait for it to come back, but there's the licensing dispute, unfortunately.
Mm.
Still, so
And so, a lot of people over the years kind of echo that sentiment, though, is that it's always Goku that comes out on top, and Vegeta's constantly stuck in the "I wish I could catch up with you," kind of comedic side character to Goku because he's not able to keep up with Goku.
that's how
And
people kind of felt about like the Granola arc, to be honest, because it felt like that was Vegeta's arc, and then Goku getting the kill. It was like, really? After all that, like after all this character development for Vegeta that started more so, I would say, in the Moro arc or near the end. In the Moro arc when he went to New Namek and the Namekians forgave him for all this shit that he did to them. So that like that's why I was like, yeah, the Granola arc was, I think, supposed to be Vegeta's arc, especially since Granola kind of represented what Vegeta was before. There we go.
right.
Before he met Goku and them.
And so, this is where, again, like, we're going to run into a lot of personality differences on how Dragon Ball is executed. Not just because it's Dragon Ball, but because it is such a long-running series. Many, many people have many, many different ideas on the many, many different open plot threads that either didn't get closed or didn't get, like, explained well enough. Because, again, manga's not really there to tell you the whole, like, 1000% every last pixel part of its story. You can't do that. It's humanly impossible to cover every last inch. Like I was talking earlier about fan fiction, you find a crack in the lore and you fill it full of your bullshit.
Yep,
Wow.
that's what. If you haven't read, probably one of the best Dragon Ball fan fictions that I've read, and I cover it on my channel too, is Dragon Ball Kakame, which is by a French fan group, and they actually have a really good Vegeta storyline in there. They, there's a God of Destruction from Universe 13, I think it is, that is starting them, and plus they have the war on the angels too, because the angels are threatening to destroy the universes as well.
Yeah, I was reading one where Bura, or Bra, if you prefer, was the daughter of Vegito. That the Potara rings did not break inside of Boo.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know exactly
And
which one you're talking
so
about.
it created like some like horrendously powerful female Saiyan that's like super crazy strong because she's the daughter of the fused Saiyans. And Chi-Chi was like, "No, you can have him." That was my favorite part of that whole story. Was Chi-Chi was like, "No, Goku's never around anyway. It's not going to be any different if you just have Vegito. So you go ahead, Bulma. He's all yours. Bye." That was fucking hilarious. I love that. That was the realest shit for Chi-Chi right there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So speaking of fanfic, this is what this guy is talking about with Vegeta, okay? So this is fan fiction. So it says he would do a Dragon Ball Super story about Vegeta. He says, "I hate self-promotion." This is awful. Maybe everyone wants to see it. France will be finished. Yes. This is awful. Yeah,
But
it's
like,
awful. So,
but as I said, Vegeta did
Horrible
get his
translation.
story in freaking well, two of them actually. There's Resurrection of Eth, where it was totally Vegeta's story to an extent, and then it was a bad written one, mind you, but I still think that what Toriyama and Toyotaro did for Vegeta's story in the Moro and Granola arc, I think was really good. Like you have Vegeta go to Yardrat and learn a different technique than Goku. Because remember, Goku had instant transmission. Vegeta didn't want that. He wanted to have his own.
Yardrat wasn't destroyed. That's right. I forgot.
Destroyed. Yeah, and this is when Goku was training with Miras, the angel.
Oh.
That's when Vegeta went to Yardrat to do his own training. And you have that. You also have the connection with, as I said, with Granola. Like there were some really good parallels with that because Granola was out to kill Frieza to avenge his people, and he did what Vegeta wanted to do originally, which was wish for immortality.
Oh yeah, that was a long ass time.
Yep.
But what we're trying to get at here is that this fellow was not satisfied with what happened with Dragon Ball Super and felt that Daima
Or Dragon Ball
didn't-
Daima to either, but yeah.
Right, that's what I was saying. Is that it didn't felt that Daima did the necessary crossing T's and dotting the I's, if you will. And so he wants permission to tell a Vegeta story. It's not something he's like petitioning the Dragon Ball group. I think that's what it's called. Capsule Group. Is that what it is?
Tokyo Capsule Corp, I think
Yeah.
it is. And then
Yeah,
and
he's not-
Shueisha too, you have to deal
Yeah,
with.
he's
as
not
well.
petitioning them for it. He was just on a radio show where they were asking him a bunch of questions, and he said, "Yeah, I'd like to tell a Vegeta story." So it's not anything official. He's not trying to get this happening or whatever. But just as a note, this fella had a very unpleasant opinion about the last few stories that Mr. Toriyama was telling. So, not that he was unpleasant and that he just thinks Mr. Toriyama was talentless. He just thinks that the stories that were chosen for publication were not the best that could have been put through. Now, this follows along the logic of Gohan can't take over from Goku, so he's useless in the Buu arc. He's just screaming all the time and trying to save Videl because he was made to be powerful in Goku, and now what? Now, you can't do anything with him, so he's stuck being the crazy Saiyan man thing. Same thing happened with Vegeta. Editorial said, it's really cool that Vegeta can do everything that Goku does. But that's it. That's all that's ever going to be. It's great.
Well,
It's
that was
awesome.
until Dragon Ball Super when Vegeta got his own Saiyan form, Ultra Ego, which I thought was the smartest thing to do.
Was
And
that,
I like,
that was,
and also you got Gohan has his own form too. So I think
Well,
that was probably the
that's-
smartest thing to do.
like, Super Saiyan Beast is some bullshit, okay? That is some serious bullshit. Like, they saw SSJ5 fan art or whatever the hell that white Saiyan
Yeah, that was
form of Goku.
Super Saiyan 5. Yeah.
Yeah, they saw that going around the internet for 30 fucking years, and they were like, you know what? We might as well, square the circle. Let's do it, boys. And they handed it to Gohan in like the worst animation style possible.
Thank God for
Then-
Toyotaro's art. Thank God.
Yeah, and then they turn around and they're like, you know what would be great if we just made Piccolo high C orange. Let's just make him high C. No fucking reason. He's orange now. He powered up. He's orange. Kind of like how the Saiyans change hair color. Piccolo's fucking bald. So he's just orange now because he can't change his hair color. Ta-da! It's like that fan art of Nappa being a Super Saiyan and you just wouldn't fucking know it aside from his little pencil mustache being gold. It's just...
Or like the full-on beard for like Super Saiyan 3.
Yeah, right. He just has he looks like a rock star, like one of those like heavy metal rock stars. Looks like ZZ Top.
Yes. Well, bald
So-
ZZ Top.
Yeah, but extra. And so you have Piccolo, and they're like, their solution was like, Piccolo's just kind of been there for a while. He absorbed Nail, and that was kind of the end of
And
what
Kami,
Piccolo.
too.
Well, that was before Nail, though. So that was the end of his power-up cycle, and he's just kind of been like to bear witness the hair color changes. So we better like do something with Piccolo. What are we gonna do with him? Let's make him fucking orange. And that was the best they could come up with, and I'm so mad about it, man. I am
Yeah.
still so mad about that.
Like with Vegeta, as I said, you had that great storyline, and he trained with specifically with Beerus while Goku was with Whis, because Ultra Instinct is more angelic based, whereas Ultra Ego is more obviously egotistical, and it totally works and people are theorizing it's because Beerus wants Vegeta to be the next god of destruction. Well, in order, there's this one line from Beerus that sticks with me, and it was about how like Vegeta, still carries that burden of like the Saiyans and all that on his shoulders. And Beerus said basically, you're not going to be able to even get stronger than Goku if you keep having that burden on your shoulders. You need to like just let it go and destroy it, and then rebuild yourself back up. And that's how Ultra Ego came to be.
And that's it's a difficult thing to take away from Vegeta because that's kind of been like his entire identity since we met him, is that he is the prince of all Saiyans, and he's just going to repeat that ad nauseum. And
He needed that character. He needed that little thing to move forward with his character arc.
well, it's difficult to take it away from him because then who is Vegeta? That's the hard part. I think that's why they never did that, is because who is Vegeta without being the Prince of all Saiyans? Well, he's just this angry guy that hangs out with Goku's like first friend Bulma, and they had kids together. So if you strip him of the Prince thing, it's a little hard. And then again, how do you square the circle on the Prince thing? Because guess what? There's no Saiyans to be Prince of. There's like 5, and most of them aren't even full-blooded Saiyan. So good luck. And that's the hardest part, unless you count Turles, I guess. I don't think is Turles dead? Maybe he's dead. He probably is. But again, like we're looking at this kind of what do you do with Dragon Ball, especially now without Akira Toriyama around to advise on things? What do you do with it? How do you progress a character like Vegeta that spent 40 years? I am the Prince of all Saiyans, just for 40 years ad nauseum on that one. What do you do with him? You take that away from him, who is he? It's hard. So I appreciate that they've taken that risk, but man, I don't know if it's going to pan out on the other side. They got to really figure out. He's got to be the god of destruction, Nerdigans. That's the only thing that'll supersede being the Prince of all Saiyans. You know anything about Vegeta? He's not going to step down in his title.
No. Well, he is more of a father than anything else now. So that's like the only reason why people are kind of hesitant on Vegeta being a god of destruction, because he is being more of a father than Goku is to his kids. So
yeah, that it's been a bizarre journey for that character, I think. And I think it's really to do with the fact that they don't know what to do with him now. There's no more rivalry between Goku and Vegeta that can ever be answered.
It's still there, to be honest. And you also got like other, you got Black Frieza that they still got to deal with too. And Black Frieza whooped their ass at the end of the Granola arc. And that was when they were both at Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct.
Well, and again, I mean, like we're running into like, what do you do with these characters who are gods at this point? That was the whole power creep problem that Dragon Ball had after Super Saiyan 1. Like, that was really annoying to me that Super Saiyan 2 showed up, and I know why it did. I get the logic behind it, how efficient it was to progress the power scaling, but man, it really it was very short-sighted in the long run, because now you've got gods of destruction and all this other jazz going on with these and angels and whatnot, involved in a story that started out with a little boy that wanted to be a martial artist, and he just so happened to turn into a terrible giant ape when the moon came out, the full moon came out. And that was how it all started, guys. You remember that? Way back in the day, little Goku trying to find out why Bulma didn't have a penis. That's how all this got started. And then, ta-da, all of a sudden, they're angels and gods of destruction. They've got 7 different hair colors going on. You can't tell one form from another sometimes unless their hair is more spiky. That was my favorite part about Super Saiyan 2. They were like,
let's just make it more
stands up
spiky.
harder. Yeah. That little part that Goku's hair like flicked out when he was the Super Saiyan, that doesn't do that anymore. That's how you know he's more powerful. Yeah. And it was just such a bizarre watching it happen, I guess, in live time as the power scaling just took off after the Buu saga. Because again, Super Saiyan 3 was another one. And Akira Toriyama forgot about Super Saiyan 3. You remember that one? When he was at the convention, he was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. And it's like, how bad is your power scaling when you completely forget about a form? The entire ass form is gone.
Well, Super Saiyan 3 does use up a lot of stamina too, kind of like with Super Saiyan Blue, and that's why I'm glad the manga utilized Super Saiyan God more for both Vegeta and for Goku, because of how more efficient it is compared to
But it
Blue.
just doesn't, in the end, it just doesn't make sense. Because like the whole point of having the Super Saiyan to begin with was to contextualize the great Uzaru legend, the golden Uzaru legend of the Saiyans. Now we're hell and gone from that. The whole spiritual reason for the Super Saiyan was destroyed when Goku, left Frieza to die on Mars. On Namek. That's a weirdly different story if it happened on Mars. But the again, like we're not I'm not trying to tell you that Akira Toriyama is dumb or anything like that, or that the guys in Japan are dumb. They have billions of dollars worth of research to pull on to know what they're doing. To my perception, though, I don't think we needed to do Super Saiyan God or Blue or 2 even. Super Saiyan 1 should have been enough. And you just learn new techniques. The Kamehameha wave does more stuff. You can, like, who was that? Goku Black could make a scythe out of his
that was really sick.
energy. So it's like, why can't Super Saiyan 1 just be, modular based on the character using it? Like Trunks should be able to make a sword. Ta-da! Gohan should be able to make another arm.
It's just funny with the whole thing with the sword because, well, in the manga, Dragon Ball Super manga, Trunks gets the Z sword. Future Trunks does. He gets the Z sword. No, the one from the realm of the Kais that all Kai was sealed in.
That shit, yeah. Wow, that's a really old ass sword.
That's an old ass storyline, yeah, because that was back in the Goku Black arc in the manga.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay, well, again, I mean, like, that's what I'm talking about, is that, like, Super Saiyan 1 could have been better utilized instead of, like, nope, Super Saiyan 2 now. The only way to defeat Cell is to spike our hair more.
Well, for Gohan, it worked. The context of it Super Saiyan 2 worked for Gohan because he was
supposed to be stronger than Goku.
It was all building up from, like, the very beginning of Z. So that's where, like, I kind of had to disagree with you there because it was technically building up from the very start of Z with Gohan's power.
I guess then it should have been the cutoff that, like, 2 was as far as anybody could ever go because it, like, I don't know, it maxed out the Super Saiyan capability, and that was only because Gohan was so super duper mad, and that's what got him that far. You can't just do that, He's a special case because of his rage making him that capable. I don't know. It's just one of those things that bothers me that we're at the point now where they're gods. And it just started with this little kid with a monkey tail. And it's like the Fast and the Furious thing. Like, they're going to space and Fieros now. They're working for government agencies. And it started with Paul Walker trying to find out what was going on with the theft of TV VCR combinations. Okay, that's how this started. Petty theft was how Fast and the Furious started, and Goku meeting Bulma was how it all started. Now, this has nothing to do with that now. And that's my problem, is that, like, when do you cut this stuff off? I've asked this about Superman and Batman. Superman's coming up on being 100 years old.
That's so crazy.
At what point do you say, like, that's enough? I'm Superman'd out. He's done everything 8 times now. There's nothing new for Superman to do. We probably ought to, give him a break.
That's the difference between
Dragon Ball characters.
Well, that's the difference between Dragon Ball and Superman is there's characters that are stronger that come. And it's not the same thing over and over again.
Sure. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, at what point do we say we know that Goku is going to find a new form and win? So at what point do we say, like,
I don't think he's gonna, as far as I know, I don't think he's gonna find a new form after Ultra Instinct because he perfected Ultra Instinct. Vegeta still got to perfect Ultra Ego, but, like, my theory for Ultra Ego was that it's like the equivalent of Super Saiyan 3, and that if it goes beyond that, then Vegeta would get his version of Super Saiyan 4. That's what my theory is on that. At least before Daima, when he did get Super Saiyan 3, and I was like, God damn it, they ruined the theory. To an extent.
So, like, Bjorn Rad says here, Gohan should have taken over for Goku after the Cell Saga. And that's exactly kind of what I'm trying to make out here, is that, like, you can follow the through thread to Cell, but once you get to Boo, it just kind of falls like, what are we doing? What is this now? There's no tangible thread to the original story anymore. Dr. Gero was part of the Red Ribbon Army. He made androids. He made some new androids. He made the sickest android possible that's actually a bug man. And that bug man just wants to murder people to prove that he's the strongest bug man there is. So you can follow the through thread. When you get to Boo, though, this is just out of nowhere. It's just like all of a sudden there's a tiny little raisin cockroach man who has summoned evil bubblegum, and that evil bubblegum is turning Satan into chocolate. It's what the fuck? We just got done fighting an evil bug man that proved that the son could take over for the father. And oh, nope, Goku's back and he's going to beat the pants off the evil bubblegum that ate Satan. And I don't understand.
Well, Gohan, the other thing that people bring up too in regards to that is Gohan never wanted to fight. He wanted to be a scholar. Yeah, I know you could make the argument that
Chi-Chi wanted him to be a scholar.
But Gohan is happy doing what he's doing though. And he has a wife and he has a kid. He's happy.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. I just,
And now like Piccolo is the thing I liked about superhero specifically in the manga is like Piccolo was like to Gohan, see, this is why you need to keep up with your training and get stronger is to protect your family.
I wish that was an excuse for Goku, but we all know that was not the case.
No.
But I don't even think he knew he had a Goten, right? Wasn't that part of the story? Yeah, that he came back and he was like, oh, hey, another one.
Yeah.
You look really familiar. But I think that's the end of the show for tonight. Miss Nerdigans, do you have anything else?
I thought we were going to talk about the porn ban that's happening in Michigan. That insane law that's happening because it is targeting. It's targeting everything. This law, in case you don't know what's going on, a couple of days ago, this psycho, for lack of a better term, Christofascist in Michigan proposed a bill that bans all porn. And that's including drawn, real life, audio, so ASMR, and written, so books too. So and technically comics and manga would be included in that as well. And he's doing it to protect the children. He's targeting he is going to target VPN as well. It is crazy. It is insane. And by the way, this lawmaker voted against making child marriage illegal in Michigan. So there's something going on there. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it. Look at that. He's calling it the Public Morals Act and all that. It's like, dude, stop. First of all, your shit is unconstitutional as hell. You are forcing your morals and values onto people, which is something that, you see in communist countries, you see in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, for example, and Iran with Sharia law. You're trying to push that onto them. Oh, and it gets better. Hold on. Let me make sure I have it in front of me because it is batshit insane what this law does. Let me just grab my thread for this real quick.
That's really, again, it's another one of those recoil effects that we're seeing.
Wait, did I put it here? Yeah, there should be there. First of all, if you watch porn, you're gonna be get caught with porn. You're gonna get be on the sexual offender list. You'll get charged. I think it's $100,000 fine and up to 20 years in prison.
What? Yeah. What are they doing out there?
What are they doing out there in Michigan? I have no clue.
The bill would completely erase trans people online, equating them with porn.
Yep. And they're trying to make cross-dressing illegal too, essentially. And it's freaking insane what they want to do.
What was the quote that this was on about here? So here we go. The Anti-Corruption of the Public Morals Act would prohibit sharing, distributing, selling, or hosting certain material on the internet. The bill's list includes adult entertainment in the form of videos. I don't even know how to say that a different way. So it's just erotica, magazines, stories, manga, AI generated material, live feeds, sound clips, but it doesn't stop there. Obviously, I can't read a lot of these out loud, so you'll have to work with me as I say the fun, friendly way to say it. So prohibited material in the bill includes visual, real animated, or digitally created, written, and audio depictions. So you can't even get away with 50 Shades of Grey. So
Here, I have it, my thread up here. Just hold on a second. Let me just share this and you'll get a better view of this. Here we go. So basically what this is it says here, the bill would require internet service providers in Michigan to use filters to prevent people from seeing the prohibited material. And if the bill were to become law, violators could be looking at prison time or hefty fines, and distributing the prohibited material on or making it available online would carry a maximum prison sentence of 20 years and or $100,000 fine. And if more than 100 pieces of prohibited material are involved, that penalty jumps to 25 years in prison and or a fine of $125,000. And additionally, an internet service provider or commercial entity could face fines for knowingly allowing people to access sexually explicit material online. And the bill's sponsors are also pushing for violators of the Anti-Corruption and Public Morals Act to register as sex offenders. That's what I mean. This law is batshit insane.
Nuts, man. It's like out of one of those Logan's Run fanfics. You know, it's like the forced pure society that always collapses on itself. The problem with regulating attitude and behavior is that you can't. Just like we proved with the bootleg bans. With the alcohol bans that led to bootlegging. Like there was a whole classification of cars that were built to carry the alcohol and outrun the police. What do you think people are going to come up with in order to facilitate perversion? Some pretty crazy stuff. And rather than deal with that, what you need to do is you just step back and say, let's not sit here and try to tell people what is appropriate in the legal sense. Now, nobody wants to see children being exploited. That's not a legal thing that should be,
No,
What's up, Rick? So, Rick, I'm going to do you a favor and just let you know that the last time that you've ever been seen on this channel is right now, okay? I'm going to find you on Facebook and block you off the Bounding Into Comics account. I don't ever want to see your sorry ass around this account ever again. What we're trying to explain is how this law is being used to take your freedom to say this stupid, horrendous shit like this away from you. You dumb waste of DNA. You regrettable motherfucker. You blight on your family's fucking legacy. You are a waste of DNA, Rick. And I will let you know that with all the authority vested in me by God himself. Find a fucking hole, Rick. Find a fucking hole. So, the situation as it comes down to be out in Michigan is that they've gone off their rocker.
They have.
Now,
I mean, look
got
at
people
this right here. They're saying this is to protect the kids. And they're saying few tools for parents and schools to restrict access. That's a load of bullshit. There's plenty of tools out there to do that. Hell, when I was in school, like they I know it was a different time then, but they still were able to like block porn and shit from school computers. And existing obscenity laws outdated and rarely enforced online. You gotta obscenity is kind of subjective if you think about it, but also look at this. It says creates here we go. Let me move this over. It creates Attorney General Enforcement Division with power to audit and prosecute. This is authoritarian shit.
This is an entirely separate one, Richard. This is up in Texas. This is up in Michigan, rather, not in Texas. Texas one is separate. Of course, there's one down in Mississippi as well.
That's more age verification than anything else. I think the other one that's the other states that's trying to ban porn is Utah.
The Mormons.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I guess it tracks.
But then there's this in regards to the sex offender registry updates. So what Michigan's registry law is updated to add a clear trigger for registry placement when a provider violates the Anti-Corruption of Public Morals Act. And the bill also clarifies several definitions. This closes a gap by tying online distribution offenses to registry requirements and strengthens tracking to protect Michigan communities. You're not going to protect Michigan communities. I mean, this is the state that has Detroit up in there. Detroit has been crime-ridden for decades. This isn't going to stop it.
No, and again, we're not dealing with the perpetrators. We're dealing with things that are entirely unrelated to that. You already have laws that prevent the dissemination, creation, and just existence in general of child exploitive media. This only adds on the taboo laws, okay? There are countries that have taboo laws. In China, porn is banned. However, they're some of the largest OnlyFans suppliers in the world.
Yep.
May not be the biggest accounts, but they're some of the largest members over there. Isn't that strange? Right? Because people will find a way to service their interests. Again, I'm not telling you to go carte blanche and allow everything under the sun to happen. But what needs to be done is this needs to be very clear, and it's not. As we've detailed here, anything under the sun that makes somebody somewhere feel uncomfortable. It doesn't even have to be a right-winger. Could be our good friends in the woke community that don't like big boobs. All of a sudden, characters that have big boobs are not allowed to be seen in certain states, let alone a country. You can't do that. You simply can't do that. What you can do is make the child exploitive media illegal, as we already have. You can make media that depicts violent sexual acts illegal, as we already have, I believe. And again, you can't step too much further beyond that stuff into the realm of what is considered consensual adult activity. And I'm referring to stuff that involves whips and chains, the stuff that's in 50 Shades of Grey. You can't come out there and make that stuff illegal because that's two consenting adults participating in acts that do not involve other people that are not consenting to it. When they go down the street in a pride parade doing that stuff, that's another problem in itself. You shouldn't be doing BDSM shit out in public, out in the light of day. Don't do that. That's not the point of it. The whole point of it is it's supposed to be in the dark. So anyway, that's the whole aesthetic of it anyway, right? It's where I see it marketed is in the dark. They're not doing it in a fucking soccer field.
But this is dangerous too. Look at this. Coordinates enactment with the Public Morals Act for stronger enforcement. That is scary. That is really goddamn scary. And by the way, this mofo believes that porn is trafficking. Even consensual porn is trafficking.
These were the similar arguments made by Collective Shout that remember when they banned women of a certain breast size and body size because they were too easily confused for teenagers, children. They weren't allowed to appear in adult media that featured sexual acts. So when you have people that are like 5'4", 5'3", 5'1", that are of a minor body size and minor chest size, and the young lady who's in like a CW show where there's a heavy makeout scene. That can't even happen in Australia anymore. See, this is the big problem with this, is that it spirals out of control. Like we've talked about before, there's already a comic book company in Texas that has taken Dragon Ball, certain issues of Dragon Ball off their shelves because it has, Bulma showing herself to Master Roshi and Goku slapping Bulma's pelvis. We do have a question from the chat, though. We have Snake Doctor 313 saying, "Why have politicians become so censorship happy lately?"
Well, in the case of the conservatives ones, these are, I call them Christofascists because they are an insult to actual Christians, in my opinion.
Sure.
These people have felt emboldened since Trump got into office that they can force their agenda down everyone's throat, and it's unbelievable that these people, if they claim they're MAGA, they're not MAGA, because what they're doing, especially according to this adult industry lawyer, he says this is what they're actually trying to do. I think they are trying to say that it would not be applicable to content not deemed as obscene under the Miller test, but it is written so poorly that there is some uncertainty as to their angle, which also makes the proposal both vague and ambiguous. And at the same time, it could be another attempt to undercut and soften the Miller test, which we have been seeing in various other states throughout the country, which we have. We're seeing it in Texas. We're seeing it in Utah. I don't remember. I don't know. I think Florida. Well, Florida, it's more for like the public school systems than anything else. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, and we have Turd Ferguson echoing what you're talking about here. It says it violates the First Amendment twice, not only on free speech, but also trying to impose a religious authority.
Yeah. It also violates the Fourth Amendment in terms of right to privacy.
Right, that's the one. There's the problem. See, the separation of church isn't actually like super codified. It was brought into an argument. It's not any part of our founding documents or anything like that at all. Now, I'm not telling you that because I want to see a one religion enforced around. What I'm trying to say is that the argument of keeping religion out on the grounds of the intention of our founding documents was to do that is not there. If we want to make that as a modern argument, that's the argument to make. And it was successfully made. So we have that in place now. But what I'm trying to explain is that a lot of people draw their inspiration from an original intent. And the original intent is to make sure that this country was a Christian nation. The reason why they didn't name it a like Catholic nation or whatever is because its original, like the reason why it came to be to begin with all these people here.
Religious persecution.
Correct. And what have we done now? We have come full fucking circle.
Yep. And there's something else here that needs to be pointed out. There's a couple things, and I have the other thing. Statement that he said here is this. He said the bill has virtually no chance of going anywhere given the current makeup of the Michigan legislature and its far left Democrat governor. And the bill is unconstitutional at every turn. And regardless, it is alarming that this type of thinking and government waste continues to occur. And then he said this here too. He said, unfortunately, this is yet another outrageous bill that has been spurred by far-right conservatives who were emboldened by the recent Texas age verification case decided by the U.S. Supreme Court. I don't remember if this is like what we saw with, I think it was NetEase. I could be wrong on the company, but they were trying to get take care of the Mississippi law. And get that overturned, and there just wasn't enough evidence to get it overturned now compared to like when it goes through the court system and gets to SCOTUS. But Kavanaugh straight up said that law is unconstitutional. The Mississippi law, that's unconstitutional. When that gets taken out and that's overturned, the Texas law or the Texas age verification bill probably could be overturned as well. But he also said this is right here, refers to the 6-3 conservative ruling in favor of the state of Texas, finding that age verification laws that specifically target online porn platforms are justified. Notice it's online porn, specifically targeting online porn platforms. It's not targeting like any other form of media or anything like that. This is a huge problem too, just in general. It's a shameful and a complete waste of tax dollars for such a proposal. And if need be, I will appear before the Michigan legislature to oppose this insanity. So this attorney is going to do it. He'll probably get a team of attorneys to go to Michigan, to the state legislature, and oppose it. But it's insane.
We have a quote from Turd Ferguson. He says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting free exercise thereof.
Yep.
They weren't talking about Islam. They were not talking about Buddhism. They were talking about the various Protestant faiths that come to be birthed out of the original Protestant Puritan escape, that came here. By then, the Baptists had started to show up. The Mormons definitely didn't exist at that time.
No.
But there were Christian sects. There were North and South Baptist. Methodist had showed up by that time, I believe. And so you were looking at a plethora of Christian faiths, sects that would go to office to say, you can't practice baptism in my Methodist state. And that's what they were preventing, was the exercise of the state to secure a proper Christian faith there. Because again, when you look at how our laws are constructed, we don't make room for polygamy. It was banned outright, but it was implied that we shouldn't do that. And the morality that John Adams is talking about that secures our moral, like our freedom, comes from the Judeo-Christian values that the founders put in everything. There's no real legal basis to prevent adultery. There's no real true legal basis in the world to prevent adultery. None. That no one's getting hurt other than emotionally. There's no violence exercised on anybody if a husband or wife steps out on their marriage. It is simply a violation of what we consider to be a spiritual bond. And that's why those laws exist. That's why those laws were there at the beginning, that you couldn't walk out and do that stuff. Why divorce had to happen. Why you were not allowed to have that. Now, again, like I said, polygamy was formally banned later on, but there's no law ensuring polygamy either. And again, they had free reign to put that in there. Was there a man alive in the colonies that would have said, I don't want 2 wives? Probably not. So again, like they could have done that, but as I said, they followed the Judeo-Christian values that they themselves had been marinated in, being colonial men. You didn't have too much on the frontier. You didn't have a library of books in their time. You were extraordinary, like Jefferson, to have such a collection. Even Washington himself didn't have a massive library to deal with until he was a general of the army, I think. He didn't have anything. He was a farmer. So again, like you're dealing
this is scary.
with... Yeah.
Like look at what he said. He says here, this is the person that
exactly, Turd Ferguson. I just want to close this loop with Turd Ferguson. I just want to say you're right. Yeah. That's why we have that there, is that we can't, the Catholic Church, the Church of England, was instituting behaviors, and of course we had Luther's argument against the Catholic Church for selling tithes and all that crazy stuff. So this is what the founders are talking about, is that one faith would not be allowed to supersede another. And that's what I'm trying to get at, though, is they weren't talking about Buddhism. They weren't talking about Islam. They weren't talking about Astrozorians. They were talking about the various Christian sects that were pretty much at war with one another at the time.
Yeah. And then there's my people, my fellow Jews that came over too, because they were just getting like destroyed over in Europe.
Yeah.
But
they were
like
having
this is
a real rough
this
time
is a Catholic person, by the way, too.
Yeah.
He says here, the intent of my bill is simple: internet service providers block porn sites. Boom, done. That's it. They could do this like in like 10 minutes if they wanted to. No, what you're trying to do is force your morals onto everyone, and a court is going to, like, if this does pass, which it's probably not going to, a court will like overturn this in 10 minutes.
Hmm. Did you happen to catch that the Vatican hosted a rap concert? Did you happen to catch that?
Oh my God, that's freaking epic. And that would be going against these people's beliefs.
This is pretty crazy. Like, even I was like, what? So this actually happened. This isn't AI. This is the real deal. Let me just pop this up for everybody here. Just take a second.
But like I wanted to show you real quick. It's that he literally, this guy literally says porn producers are sex traffickers.
Yeah.
This person is batshit insane.
And that's usually, you don't hear that other than like your really crazy Karens. You don't typically hear that from your lawmakers. So that's pretty crazy.
No.
So we have this, and this actually happened. This is a concert, a rap concert performed at the Vatican, right there in St. Peter's Square. I'm not going to play the audio,
awesome.
Obviously. This is nuts. This is nuts.
If there was anybody I was going to say, this is, remember, like the Catholic Karens and the Christian Karens were blaming rap music for a lot of shit.
That's what I mean.
They wanted to ban it too. That's what is so epic.
Like, if anybody was if anybody was like, I don't like the American Pope, I don't think he's going to treat the Vatican well. Well, you were right. Here's the American Pope. Like, BT Dubs, we're throwing down bars here at St. Peter's Square in the name of Christ and the Holy Mary. Like, my goodness, look at this. This is something you see at like the Kennedy Center. This is something you see at a halftime show. It is in what is considered to be the holiest place in the Catholic faith. And there are people that have said some incredibly not Catholic things performing there right in this clip. It's crazy. I don't know what timeline I'm in where this is even possible. Like, this is almost a Black Mirror episode. Like, this, it blows my mind that any of this came to be. It just shows you the power of the Pope. This would never have happened under Francis. No, and I'm not saying Francis is a good guy, but this would have never have happened under Francis. It would have happened under Benedict for all his weirdness. Wouldn't happen, and Paul, John Paul II would have hanged somebody for the suggestion of this. Like, this is crazy. Think about it for a moment. Imagine if at Mecca, at the big black square, they just decided to have a heavy metal concert. Because, like, not enough Muslims were making the pilgrimage, I guess. And they were just like, let's have AC/DC perform here. It's nuts. You know? I can't. It's like having Rammstein come to Jerusalem to attract more Jews to temple. You know? It's fucking crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, I just remembered the other thing that we didn't talk about is Bandai Namco addressing the AI figure trend. Because it's very dangerous. Yeah, because it's been happening for a while where people are using AI to like generate fake model kits or like figures and stuff like that, and it has the Bandai Spirit logo on there. But it took someone AI generating like a model kit of Charlie Kirk's assassination for them to like come in and say something. It's crazy.
Yeah, who would ever generate, action figures that aren't real? That would be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Where did I put that? I have a very bad thing that I can show you guys. So who would ever do such a despicable thing like make an advertisement or a product? Who would ever do such a terrible?
Whoa, the White Ranger needs my help? No way! Dad's never gonna believe this!
With the Falcon Ninjetti Battleizer, evil doesn't stand a chance. Available now, wherever dreams are sold.
Who would ever do a terrible thing like fake a product advertisement? That's terrible. For this use especially. So here is what Bandai Namco had to say, and it is very salient. So bear with me. We have recently been made aware of an AI generated of images circulating online that depict the Bandai Namco Toys Collectibles America Inc. logo on packaging associated with a graphic or violent event, including references to recent events. We want to make it unequivocally clear Bandai Namco Toys and Collectibles America Inc. strongly condemns any form of violence and does not support or endorse the use of our brand, products, or logo in such context. These images are not created, approved, or affiliated with our company in any way. We are actively investigating this matter and are taking the steps to report and remove any unauthorized misleading content. The misuse of our intellectual property in any way that misrepresents our values and intentions is deeply concerning and will not be tolerated. We thank our community for bringing this to our attention and encouraging anyone who sees similar misuses to report them to us directly. So there you go. Again, maybe just don't do creepy, weird shit. Let's just don't do that.
Yeah, don't make model kits based off of someone's assassination.
Murder. Just don't do that. Just don't be creepy. Just don't do that. That's not a normal person thing to do, by the way.
No.
So just don't bother. If you're making real life action figures about it, because I saw that go around too, don't do that. Don't. It might be a fun little joke to talk to your friends about at the water cooler because you're some kind of ghoul, but don't cross that threshold, because that you've now let everyone know in the room that you are entirely happy with the unaliving of people that simply say things that you disagree with. Not even calls for violence that would justify someone feeling insecure. Just simply saying, hey, that doesn't make sense. That's Charlie Kirk's entire thing, was it doesn't make sense to him. That was his entire platform. I don't think that makes sense. And he would make his argument on that. That's it. That's all he did. He didn't say, I don't think that makes sense, so we should hunt people down. He didn't say we should hurt people because they do these things and say these things and march in pride parades or whatever. No. No. He made fun of people. Absolutely. And if that's enough to get you iced, Tosh.0 had better be looking over his shoulder every day for the rest of his life, you know? Because that guy can't help himself, you know? And that's where like a lot of the censorship that we had a question coming about earlier come from. A lot of the censorship, the support for it, not the lawmakers themselves are crazy. They're going out and doing this to control your speech. It's obvious. But the support for it that comes from the populace is because of incidences like these, where someone goes and takes what I do, like make an action figure for a cool character that'll never exist, and use that technique to make something horrendous. And that will mean that the AI generator will not be able to make action figures anymore. That's pretty shitty. Just so you could have some ghoulish laugh about something you and maybe 10,000 other people on the planet, the entire planet of 7 billion of us, thought was a funny thing. That's something.
And the thing that also is insane is you have these people. These people were already supporting like the unconstitutional pro-porn ban. That's what they were supposed to supporting. Now they're saying, and they've been saying it for a minute too, but they're becoming more vocal, that there is like an anime to trans pipeline, and because of the shooter's significant other being trans, they're blaming porn and they're blaming anime on it, and of course they're blaming my people, my fellow Jews, on this too, which is dumb. And every time I see them saying that porn is the Jews' fault, I'm like, damn, I didn't realize my people were so base. They are pro-freedom. I knew my people were pro-freedom because every holiday is about freedom, basically. Celebrating our freedom. But it's like, dude, like, that makes you sound so retarded. It makes it sound like the Christians, you Christians are authoritarian, like almost on par with the Sharia law practicing Muslims.
Hey, do you know, it spooks me how crazy it gets with some of this. And again, it's a reaction to like 20 years of being browbeaten. I know Glenn Beck's not a great guy to go quoting these days, but this was back before he was KFC Jesus. And he said, the pendulum is, if you keep pushing left, the pendulum is going to swing so hard back to the right, it'll spin your head off your shoulders. And that's what happened. You got to the point where you had people undulating their genitals in their like skimpy BDSM clothing in front of children. You had people interacting in their dog BDSM with little girls. Okay, the men pretending to be dogs wearing their dog BDSM masks, and they were celebrating this. You had a trans Secretary of the Navy who would not hear any, Secretary of Health, who wouldn't hear any argument that maybe it isn't okay to go lobbing off children's genitalia and giving them puberty blockers that are also used to neuter pedophiles. Maybe we don't do those things. And the problem is they did them. And that gave license to all the crazy shit you're seeing now because people got mad. And when you're mad, you're not thinking straight. You think of those people that are doing that shit that you don't like, and you say, that's got to stop. The problem is you don't think 10 minutes after that because you're mad. I'm mad. I get like that. You don't think 10 minutes after that because what happens 10 minutes after that is the stuff you like that's banned too. It never stops. It always goes too far. We draw the line at hurting children and hurting people. Right. And again, you think of what you want about BDSM. I'm not a fan of it. I have walked away from relationships because my partners were into it. It's not my thing, but I have not wanted them to be jailed, stoned, burned at the stake, or ejected into space because of it. I just simply didn't want to be part of what they wanted to be part of. It's very easy. There's whole cultures that these people that are raging, making these laws about and raging about them, there's whole cultures they're not even aware of that are doing things that'll make their heads spin off their shoulders, but they're not focusing on those people. They're focusing on the people that are your neighbors. They get off on weird things. They get off on things that aren't like CW material. And that's where they're angry. They're mad that their neighbors are out doing this stuff. Meanwhile, the shack down the street is chock full of Honduran children being sold to every celebrity in the neighborhood. But That's not who they're targeting. That's not who they're going after. They're going after mom and pop that want to get their rocks off after a long day at work.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like, that's why, like, when I saw that it was Michigan of all places doing it, it's like, dude, you got Detroit up in there. Shouldn't you solve that before you think about trying to ban something else?
Detroit looks worse than Fallujah, Iraq. Okay, just want to remind everybody that they haven't fixed Detroit yet. They've tried, and they still haven't. Yeah, they're invading our stuff and putting blame on us for their weird stuff. Exactly. They're going in and they're saying, I am uncomfortable because this is new to me, and I am condemning it because I am uncomfortable to it. Should you accept this stuff? No, I didn't. I just told you I walked away from relationships. But I didn't seek legal action to prevent those people from doing what they're doing.
No. Just let them this is the land of the free. I mean, I saw a tweet where this person was saying that Americans that want freedom, that are love freedom and porn are weird, and that the Americans like pushing for this porn ban are not weird. I'm like, what?
It's one of those things.
Freedom. Like, that's our whole thing is freedom.
When people think of why they want this porn ban, they think of that Bonnie Blue girl that had 1,000 men have sex with her. They think of that mother-daughter OnlyFans team. They think of the documentaries they've seen on YouTube about the anal and vaginal destruction that happens to some of these actresses who perform extreme acts with certain devices. And so that's what they're thinking of. They're not thinking of like the stuff that you would, people ordinarily interact with on this. The other thing is you have the extremely eccentric point of view that if you ban porn, you will suddenly get children. And what I want to ask is like, the problem with that is that you insinuate that men and women not having the distraction, if you will, of pornography would just simply go out and have sex and reproduce. That the barrier is the pornography.
No,
but that entails that what happens to the men who are not so capable in the dating market? Right? What happens to women who are not so capable in the dating market in this instance? I'm not trying to make an excuse for porn for forever alones. What I'm trying to make a case for is that maybe we don't encourage people to be so sexually frustrated that they go out and make some pretty irrational choices. Maybe we don't do that. Maybe we don't take a culture that's been drenched in sexuality and then try to cold turkey that. Maybe we try to turn down the heat on our media so we're not having Lady Gaga and Taylor Swift walking around with their butt cheeks hanging out. Maybe we don't. Maybe we just kind of turn that down a little bit. Be like, hey, you're in front of 1,000, 10,000, 500,000 people. Some of those are teenage girls. We prefer it if you wear spandex shorts. Is that enough? Can you wear spandex shorts, please, so that your butt cheeks aren't waving in the night wind? Wouldn't that be nice? That's it. We don't want you to stop singing about Shake It Off and all your sexy little twerky songs. We just want to make sure that Lizzo isn't walking around with a glow-in-the-dark 12-inch dildo in front of 12-year-olds. That's all we're really asking. That's it. just tone it down a little bit, guys, but you couldn't. So now you've got these freaks that are going around saying none of it can exist anymore. We will burn all of your dildos. We will burn all of your porn. We will delete it all because they've been forced into this position where they feel like they have to defend what they consider to be innocence. It didn't have to be like this. It still doesn't have to be like this. But I don't think these two sides are going to be able to be mature enough to come in and be like, okay, we won't ban all porn. Okay, so we won't continue making crazy stuff where we're having Lizzo walking around at a concert venue with a 12-inch dildo. Maybe that's an okay compromise to make in all of this, that we just agree that it got a little crazy on both sides and everybody needs to calm the hell down. Maybe. Put some cold water.
Will they do it is the question.
No. Everybody's too mad for that.
Everyone's too mad to notice that there's still child marriages that are legal in states like Utah and Michigan.
Right. They're mad about you being able to watch stuff on all sorts of different video platforms. They're not mad about a 12-year-old getting married to a 40-year-old. They're not mad about that.
They're not mad about, in the case of Michigan, they're not mad about the gangsters that are flooding the streets with drugs.
Well, and that's what it is, Richard, is that's where the support for a lot of these bills comes from, is it comes from people, as I said, that think of the extremes because they don't have time to pay attention to the full scope of it. You can say nuance if you like, but I don't think it's nuanced. It's pretty obvious. But when you're being pitted into this belief that if you let this permit, there will be more Bonnie Blues, there will be more mom and daughter OnlyFans teams. So if you allow any of it to exist, that will come to manifest eventually. That's what's forcing the support to come to fruition, because people don't have time to say, wait a minute, if I ban this, then the thing that I like is going to go too. Because again, what do you do with burlesque dancing? What do you do with all those neato Vegas shows now that Vegas is on its last leg? You're going to take the showgirl shows away? You're going to take the neat stripper zones out of there? You're going to take all that weird perversion that goes on in Vegas away from them that probably is driving a lot of the tourism still? What's left of it? You gonna do that to him?
Nevada ain't stupid. They aren't gonna do that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if this kind of goes to its extreme, which is where people on the Christo-fascist, I guess, side would want to take this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you end up in a position where you're putting your women in burqas, because just the female flesh itself is too tempting to have view of. So a man will be then free of the temptation of the flesh because that flesh will no longer be visible to him. Ta-da! I mean, I read the Quran.
But just the irony in it is that these people say they hate Sharia law and like Muslim
right?
extremists, but like it's like, dude, you're no different than them.
I hate it because it's not my Sharia law, okay? If it was my Sharia law, it would have monster truck tires if it was my Sharia law. That's what it boils down to. I want my extremist views to be in place, not those extremist views. Those ones are dumb and lame and stupid. It never gets any better because, like I said, the extremes have taken their positions and they're angry, so they're going to keep getting more and more extreme. And people like us in the middle that are simply trying to ask the question of why is everybody so mad? We're just going to get bulldozed with it. So it's best just to step back and let them tear each other apart. The Constitution will ensure that none of this gets taken away for very long, as we've seen with what happened in Florida. Mm-hmm. And so again, we are protected. It's just going to be bumpy as we work out the new rules after both sides went nuts. Because again, reasonable people never get to make the decisions. It's only crazy people that seem to make all the decisions.
And, like, they're using the thing that really is annoying me the most is that they're using Charlie Kirk's assassination to like push this agenda. A lot of them are pushing this agenda with this. And I'm just like, dude, Charlie Kirk like was more about having a dialogue than anything else. He doesn't want to ban like criticism, like what they're trying to do. Now, I do want to point this out. There's a difference between violating TOS and your constitutional rights for free speech. What has been happening on these platforms specifically violates TOS in terms of violent speech. That's a private company thing. So like the people that are saying, oh, taking down the stuff is against the First Amendment, taking down like the glorification of Charlie Kirk's assassination is against freedom of speech. No, you violated the terms of service. And the same goes for you, for the other side that wants that's straight up saying they want the other side to die and they want to kill them and all that. It's like, no, dude, you can't do that either. It's not just one-sided. TOS is not supposed to see political lines. Unfortunately, in the case of like Twitter, for example, it was politicized. They chose who they were going to push this again or enforce TOS against, which is very frustrating. But it's just a completely different thing. It is. I just worry that people have lost sight of that. Like, and for like people are like, oh, Republicans are pro cancel culture now. It's like private company could do what they want. If they want to fire you because of some really nasty conduct that makes them look bad, then they're gonna do it. They have every right to do it.
It's where we're at. That's the problem, is that it's been put to such an extreme now that we have private companies that have to step in and make sure that atrocities don't happen. that people themselves are not capable of policing their own thoughts and actions any longer. You have to have Mark Zuckerberg come in and sit on your head to make you shut up about the crazy things that are banging around in there. So no, you're right. It's not a violation of your free speech rights. It's quite literally a go take a walk, go touch some grass, breathe, look at the blue sky. If you can't find blue sky, Google it. It's just calm down. And that's the problem, is that, like, should people be mad about what happened to Charlie?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Reacting in a way that is instigating more trouble on the scale that already has happened is not appropriate. Reacting in a way that is celebrating the violence that has already occurred is not appropriate. But what's happened is both sides have done what they're not supposed to do. And they're going to keep doing it because they like it. That's what scares me the most, is the people agitating all of this, those TikTokers, the people that are responding to the TikTokers with all the pitchforks. It is just simply going to go somewhere. You and I both know it's got to go somewhere. In the rule of theater, I come from a background of being a stage actor. In the rule of theater, you don't step up to another character unless you're going to go through with kissing, punching, kicking, hugging, throwing, or just generally having some physical interaction with them. So guess what? The two sides are now nose to nose. There's nowhere else for this to go. So all I'm trying to say is, don't get wrapped up in the crazy thoughts that all the things you love are going to get banned for long. They may get banned for a year. That's going to suck a lot, but it'll finally be settled on the other side. And this attempt to take it away again will not be possible through the same means. It'll become more difficult. Let's put it that way. And that's the process of our republic, is that it responds to problems. It cannot be proactive. That's the point of our Constitution. It's a charter of negative liberties against the government to make sure that it cannot do the things that lawmakers on both sides of the aisles have done over the past 20 years. The conversation of hate speech still boggles my mind. You got Pam Bondi out there talking about hate speech. Like, who the hell are you to be talking about? What are you saying? Why are you? This is a Biden thing. Don't bother with this. No, that's what they're going to do. And again, they're using the untimely end of Charlie Kirk in order to justify this. And it just reminds me, Nerdigans, to bring this full circle back to the show. It reminds me of Xeon Daikun and what the zombies did to him in order to inspire Xeon to go to war with Earth. It mirrors it so closely. Xeon was a figure of peace, which is what Charlie was trying to do. He laughed at people. He did not call for them to be harmed. Okay. And so Xeon Daikun in the Gundam setting was similarly a figure of controversy because he wanted peace between the colonies and Earth. And that was not feasible at the time. And then he died. And then the zombies were like, oh, yeah, we're going to use this to instigate a space war. We're going to drop a colony on those guys. And then they missed and hit Sydney. So that's a lesson. That's a lesson in why using someone's death to justify killing things is not a good idea.
They're not going to let this good crisis go to waste.
I think a witch hunt, Sakura Mita, is probably the least of how you could describe what is broiling. I'm not even, like, the purge is probably the closest thing I could guarantee you of what you could be facing in the next 10 years. Because there's no way back from this point. There are people that are gleefully celebrating the end of a man, and there are people on the other side making plans to eliminate the people who are laughing about that man's death.
As well as trying to control your speech.
Right. Again, and then intermingled with all of that, semi-related, semi-unrelated, you've got the governments of the world trying to make sure that you can't talk to each other about why all of this is wrong. So you're all cordoned off into your spaces where you continue to get angrier and angrier and angrier. And it's just one of those things you can't conquer on your own. So it's best not to get worried about it. That's why I'm making Power Ranger content instead of engaging with all this psychopathy, because I can't give you an answer that won't lead to something worse. I'm not capable of giving you the peaceful solution. That's why I'm staying quiet. You know?
Like, I've heard about, like, the Steam group that's going after game devs, or, game devs that are celebrating this. And like I've seen like some of this stuff on Twitter as well, and I'm just like, I'm not getting involved in any of this. I don't want to be part of no witch hunt. If I see something, I will post about it, but that's it. I'm not going to like make a freaking list. Like Sweet Baby Inc. was a little bit of a different story because they instigated something. Because I did document the people supporting Sweet Baby Inc. Sweet Baby Inc. literally instigated a witch hunt onto Cabrutus. That's a completely different thing than what this is.
Let's zoom back out on that one, because again, in that instance, you're not dealing with someone's death. You're dealing with someone making a stupid comment and the fallout from that comment.
Well, encouraging someone, and it's based on someone encouraging to harass someone and get them deplatformed.
So, like I said, though, that's why that situation you're fine to go out and face them the way that you did. In this other situation where violence is guaranteed if it gets pushed too much further, it's not a good idea to do the pushing. So you're right to step away from that and not participate in the information gathering, spreading, that sort of thing. Because again, that's a step further. And everybody's mad. I'm mad. But I am at least aware enough of myself to know that I can't go out and be mad on camera because I will not help anything doing it. So that's why you're seeing Power Ranger content. It gets clicks. People are searching for it. And I don't have to be a person saying very emotional things. You saw me get angry this evening. I don't need to make a 10-minute video at that pitch.
I'm really getting annoyed at that too. That I'm not going to name names. I'm just annoyed that people are like condoning this kind of witch hunt and celebrating. It's like, dude, you're no different than the other side that did cancel. I don't believe in cancel culture, but that's what you're kind of doing.
And what do you know? At the end of the day, it's horseshoe theory all over again. If you go far enough to the extremes, they're neighbors. They're no longer that different from one another. So,
and mostly a lot of the shit is coming from people that just want to quote unquote protect the children. It's not about the children. It's not about the porn. It's always about control.
Yeah, and Sakaramita says, and Collective Shout, Nerdigans?
Yeah, Collective Shout is, and Coast Karens are freaking batshit insane. Like the Collective Shout Karens are still pushing like this Jussie Smollett-esque narrative that they are getting harassed by people. By gamers, when we all know that it's burner accounts or like that fake email that they made. If people are actually buying it and like agree with them, then that's on you. You could be gullible all you want, but yeah, like these Karens are just freaking delusional. And by the way, the people that are pushing this pro porn ban are doing exactly what the Collective Shout Karens want.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they want. That's what they are trying to do. They really pushed it. It's insane what they are doing. And they've infiltrated the Australian government. And from what I know, there was a protest in Australia, I want to say last week, and the people are getting fed up with it. They're getting fed up with the government's incompetence and like this authoritarian-esque situation that's happening to them. And they're like, whether it's like the immigration policy or the age verification stuff too, like the people are going to rebel.
And that's, it's a story for another day. And this channel isn't a rebellion catalog, so probably better be careful about that.
Well, yeah, I'm just I'm trying to be as careful as possible.
Absolutely.
On that, but like because Collective Shout was brought up, that's why I mention it.
Sure.
Like on my channel, this is my policy when it comes to.
So wait, when they find you, Miss Nerdigans, after the show, what do you do on your channel?
I cover anime and manga content on my channel, Nerdigans Inc., which, by the way, after this, I'm going to be covering a chapter of Bear Machida Arumacon, and I'm debating if I want to do another multi-chapter live reaction, because I've done 2 today. But this one would be for Twisted Wonderland. So I'm debating on if I'm going to do that one or not. But in terms of content we recorded today, we recorded like the latest Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter, Black Butler, Kengan Omega, and Toil Bound Hanoka-kun. Tomorrow, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the JoJo Lands will be out. So I will be covering that tomorrow, as well as like One Piece and Hope God willing, Sakamoto Days comes out. And the latest chapter from the Jujutsu Kaisen spin-off too, because a group picked it up. Thank freaking God, because I don't like business localizations. I really don't. On Patreon, patreon.com/PackerGirls, where I'm doing my anime live reaction content. And the summer season is starting to wrap up. We are covering Witch Watch, Togenanki, Gachiakuda, and the second seasons of Dandadan, which is tomorrow, and my Dress Up Darling as well. I got to figure out what I'm going to do for fall. Because there's a lot of anime coming out this fall, which is like next month. And then on Twitter which is right here, is where I post, like, that's where I'll talk about like politics to an extent. And I talk about politics in my manga when live reactions when it's, valid. But yeah, most of my other stuff is on my Twitter. I try to keep it separate, because I know people don't want to, the people that are subscribed to me don't want that content. So I've asked them and they said they don't want it. So I figured that's probably the best thing to do, is to keep it separate. Then in terms of bounding, I'm working on the article for Erika Ishida. I got my Fire Force article I need to do, and I got to do my Couple of Cuckoos dub article as well. My Splinter Cell article is going nutso because Ubisoft revealed things that they did not say. They revealed that the Splinter Cell anime that's coming out, quote unquote anime, that's coming out is indeed canon to Splinter Cell, to the Splinter Cell games. But for some reason, they didn't reveal that. I don't understand why, but
it seems kind of important.
Yeah, that kind of is important. But yeah, and don't know if I'm gonna do NerdyCast this week because my dad's in town, so I might skip it this week. I skipped it last week because the Packers were playing Thursday Night Football, so of course I had to skip it. But yeah, I'll be here, of course. Hopefully Cider will be feeling better this Monday, and we'll get back to our regular schedule.
Absolutely. And as always, guys, we wish you good luck out there, and we hope that you keep a cool head, because there's a lot of reason to get excited, and there's it's not so good to get bad excited. So like I said, keep a cool head out there, and good luck. All right. See you in the next episode.
They know the fate of the world.